It's Thursday night, and we're ending it right here on Hey, Did You See This One? I don't know what I meant by I'm ending it right. But it means that it is the end of Hackers Month, I guess.
And the month altogether. Well, I guess we got one more day.
Yeah.
This is the end.
Sorry, I'm just adjusting the, this is something you usually do in the beginning, but I'm just adjusting the
Raul, thanks for joining me in the dance-off when the viewers can't see behind the scenes.
They can't see.
I love dancing. You can't stop me from dancing.
They can't see behind the curtain. We were just talking about The Wizard of Oz, speaking of behind the curtain. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Hey, Did You See This One? The weekly show where we ask each other, hey, did you see this one? I've never said that
Nailed
before.
It.
Yeah, that's never come out of me before.
Did you just make that up? That's really good.
That's pretty good. We have done movies about hackers for better or for worse all month. We started off with an actual hacker movie called Hackers. Then we went into a movie about, I guess technically they did some hacking in sneakers. And then last week we talked Ghost in the Shell. And we're going to wrap it up with probably the most pound for pound realistic hacking movie we've done all month. The Net, starring Sandy Bullock.
Wait to take my final thoughts, Jason.
And Kaylin's final thoughts at the beginning of the show by me. And to wrap it up, we've bookended our month with two of the nicest guys from The Nice Guys. It's Raul Delgado. Welcome to the show.
Hi.
Thank you for being here. It's funny that this worked out like this.
Yo, where's the applause button?
Oh yeah, sorry, I fucking.
Yeah, where's my applause?
I immediately forgot.
Got it.
And everybody, welcome Raul Delgado.
Perfect. That sounds good.
Don't you hate pants? My pants.
Excellent. So, that's right. We also got a soundboard, so look out for sounds.
We're blowing up.
This is a big advancement for this show. I can't figure out the framing of our video, but I can get a fart sound in here at a moment's notice. I'm your host this week. I'm joined as always by Steven and Kaylin. Of course, I've already talked about our special guest for this week, Raul. So we'll see you next week. Goodbye. I love doing that. We are, of course, talking about The Net. Got
me.
What I was saying was we started the month off with Mike Mongiardi, who knows Raul from their podcast live performance, The Nice Guys, where they take a movie and fully forget what the movie's about and improv it out, I guess is the best way to put it. Would you say that that's accurate?
Yeah, that's accurate. Yeah. We improvise the movie to the best of our ability, to the best of our memories. Yeah,
that's amazing. And I've seen it live. It's extremely funny. I think the pandemic might have kind of derailed that a little bit because I haven't seen you guys get back on the old saddle yet. But
yeah, that's probably the worst thing the pandemic did was stop our comedy improv podcast.
Yep. So now you guys
tragedy.
Yeah, tragedy.
Now you guys just you're all serious and now you remember how movies actually go, because that's why you came on this show. And we're going to talk about how a movie actually goes. The Net from 1995, starring Sandy Bullock. I can't call
our girl, Sandy B.
Sandy B, man. Oh my gosh. We'll get into 1995 Sandra Bullock in a second. But we always like to start off the show with a little segment I like to call "What's Your History with the Movie?" And
is that what the segment's called?
I don't know.
I don't know if that's what it's called.
The way it kind of slowly came out of your mouth made me feel like you just came up with that name.
The new segment called
"Oh Yeah."
Tell us about your first. Whoa, was that a soundbite?
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
I got an "Oh Yeah" soundbite ready to go as well. Stay tuned for next week when I have way too many sounds and way too much time on my hands to make a soundboard.
Yeah.
Since I told you I wouldn't do this, Raul, but why don't you go first? Because when we saw each other outside of the Super Kicked show, which was also a weird Kismet-y kind of thing.
That was crazy.
You were like, I'll do The Net. Of course I'll do The Net. That sounds amazing. Do you have a history with this movie?
I don't have a grand history of this movie. I saw it late. So like well after the internet was established, and well, I mean late, I mean like 3 years ago, maybe. I saw this movie for the first time.
3 years.
And I had heard about it, and I had people tell me that they had fond memories of it. And when I saw it, I was like, I had to ask them again if their memories were truly fond for that, because I was not. I was like, you must be wrong about. And then I was like, there's like some moments in it that I do enjoy a lot, but maybe not for the reasons the movie wants me to enjoy them. Yeah, but that's my history with it is like very fresh, very new. So I didn't have. There's a lot of people who I think I've heard have seen it when it came out, and they're like,
did they say, "Hey, did you see this one?"
Yeah, they say, "Hey, did you see this one?" And it's a very who's on first. It's a whole bit, and then they're talking about the show, and I think they're talking about the movie. Yeah,
I wish.
Did you go out of your way to find it, or did it pop up because your phone or whatever heard you and your friends talking about it?
Yeah, and I was like, my phone's just suggesting dietary restrictions and the net. No, it was. I actually seeked it out because, and I think I rented it. I think I rented the movie.
Ooh.
Yeah,
like physical rent or like
no,
digital?
Sorry, online rental. In the vein of the net. I was like, I think I'm gonna go on to movie.net and and download it as a rental. Yeah, and there's a bunch of VHS.
If you went to movie.net to get the movie, I'm pretty sure that you sailed the old 7 seas, if you catch my drift. All right. That's
true in my history. I wish it was deeper than that. I wish I could, but like only heard other people tell me how, like, I don't have that same history, that I've seen it the first time in 95 and was like, whoa, what a scary concept, that all my information is just trapped in the internet.
It was it's when the way she puts it at one point, I was like, holy shit, dude, like this movie like predicted Facebook in a way.
It predicted online ordering, online air flight reservations or whatever.
I don't know if it predicted those things. I think
she predicted a strong word. I agree. I don't know if it predicted it.
They were coming, but it like showed for the first time.
Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly
it. Like realistic in a realistic way, because.
Also, right quick, in honor of our girl Sandy B, I made myself a silly drink, some vodka with some melting popsicles. They're in there. Don't worry.
Okay, Kayla.
She's notorious for loving that.
Yeah, she loves dipping popsicles in booze.
Oh, also, I think we're past the 6 minutes and 20-second mark. I was going to set an alarm to interrupt us at 6 minutes and 20 seconds, because that's when we get a title name drop.
I need a title shout-out drop button.
Title shout-out, that's the one.
Sorry,
I need a tall glass of vodka with a pink popsicle in it if I'm going to keep up this episode, I think.
Okay, thank you, Raul. Kaylin, since you're already drinking 2 drinks at the same time, why don't you
I'm not double fisting.
What's the other drink you got there?
It's on deck. It's what's it called when like wine ages? It's aging.
It's aging.
It's when you open it, it's breathing. It's not aging in front of you.
Oh, okay.
We gotta let it age a couple more seconds, guys. Let it age a bit more here.
It's like that joke from Arrested Development that's like, once you open the vodka bottle, you got to finish it or it goes bad. That's what's happening.
But yes, so before my first time, the net is said 6 minutes 20 seconds into the film when she's in the chat room, and I think it's Cyber Bob maybe saying the net is the ultimate condom because everyone stays inside, no one has sex, something like that. My first time with this movie, though, I assume it was like a family movie rental night way back in the day. Like it's familiar, but there isn't any strong memories to like the first time of it. And then watching it this past weekend and also the other day and again today, it was, I mean, we joked about it, but there are some actual, realistic concerns that this movie raises. And I'll leave it at that.
It's true. It's true.
Spooky.
Like we're going to get into it in this, I think, because I was blown away by this. Isn't
The concept of identity theft.
No,
Oh,
not that. I was blown away by like I didn't know this was what this movie was. I thought it was a little bit more. I didn't know it was like a woman on the run movie so much as it was like a. I don't know. Anyway, Steve, why don't you go ahead and I'll get more into my thoughts when I get to my turn.
Okay. Hello, everybody. It's me, Steve. I'm going to tell you all about the first time I saw The Net, starring Sandra Bullock. I can't remember. I remember seeing this as a kid and being so bored and not understanding anything that was happening because I was 9 or whatever. Actually, I think I was younger than that. But I remember like sitting on the couch and, you know, the opening sequence, I was confused. I didn't realize that the guy killed himself. I was like, wait, what happened? And my parents were like, don't worry about it. Maybe you shouldn't watch this.
You just thought he ate an apple and then was checking out his gun.
Yeah, it's a gun. No, I think I thought that he shot somebody, but I didn't connect that he shot himself. I was dumb as a kid, by the way. Nice. Unless they showed it to me full frontal, I was just like, I don't know what's going on. It just sounds to me. But I remember I fell asleep very quickly. I think I probably fell asleep during the chat room conversation. I was probably just like, so I didn't watch it again until I think the pandemic, when I was just going through everything on every streaming service and it popped up on Netflix, and I went through this like month-long period where every day I just watched a movie from the 90s. I didn't care what it was. As long as it was made in the 90s, I was just trying to inject myself with 90s nostalgia, because there is a very specific type of movie that came out in the 90s, and these sort of techno thrillers were hot at this time. And I was just kind of digesting a lot of them. The technological threat was real in the 90s, and this movie, I remember being like, that was pretty good. And then when we suggested it for the show, I was like, oh yeah, I think I watched that recently. And then while watching it this time, I was like, I only remember the part where she orders a pizza, and then the very end where they're in like a weird warehouse, maybe. Turns out they're not in a warehouse. They're in a convention center. Yeah.
Backdoor.
So yeah, I guess the main takeaway from this movie is I fell asleep when I was a child. I didn't remember any of it from when I watched it in the pandemic. And yeah, hopefully I retained a little bit more this time because I was watching and taking notes. But yeah, I've seen it a few times and it just refuses to stay in my brain.
Yeah, that is a sentiment. That is a sentiment I can go by. Like, that is for sure how I feel.
Well, I'm glad.
After this show, you're going to purge it because you're like, I need to remember how to use a fork. And if I store this movie information, I might forget.
And I'm desperately trying to keep it in my brain. I'm like, I think this is something like this should be in my brain, I guess, but it just fades away every time.
So these guys give me a hard time because of the way that I watch my movies for this show, because I like to watch movies the way that I watch TV in like smaller chunks, preferably
in 20-minute intervals.
Well, I watch movies in hour intervals mostly. But the first half of this, I watched the first half yesterday for the first time, and the second half today for the first time. And when I was watching the second half, the movie's split so well that yesterday felt like the way that it's purged from your heads after years, it was purged from my head after like hours. Because I was like, man, the part where she's on the beach feels like weeks ago.
Yeah, and that was after you just finished watching that
exactly.
first part.
So that's something to be said.
Well, I mean, she was in the hospital for like a couple days. So.
That's true.
Yeah.
Steve always reminds me politely that you're supposed to watch a movie all in one go, so you get the whole vibe of the film.
Yes.
And I fly in the
fucking idiot.
I fly directly in the face because I do what I want. But
I think this movie specifically you can watch in chunks because it is split apart. Every sort of set piece is so separate from one another.
Yes.
That it's almost like it was designed for commercial breaks. Like
It's also
on TV.
Yeah, it's also so equally bland.
Yes.
Every part of it's so equally bland that like it doesn't matter where you start or begin or stop again. Like, so I honestly like this movie. It's fine for that. Like,
it's true. You could accidentally sit on the controller and skip ahead 3 scenes and be like, "What's happening? She's on the run. All right, okay.
Well,
Who's she with?"
She's mildly scared again.
That's what I want to say. It's like it's subtle. It's a subtly good movie because the individual parts of it are kind of like whatever. But overall, it's an interesting thriller. My history with it is only really I watched it this week. I thought she was a more cunning hacker type. Like I thought she was more like her character in like Speed, like more actiony. That's how I always perceived this movie to be. But watching it for the first time over the last couple of days, I'm like, she's like this like meek, like weak nerd. They don't even write women like this anymore in Hollywood. They don't write them all like they can't defend themselves. And then she like brutally murders that guy, which also was like, that's too far the other way. Which we'll get to.
I think that she does a pretty good job. I
No,
would
she's
say
great.
that she's reclusive. She secludes herself in her home, and she clearly doesn't like interacting with people. She'd rather be in her computer than talking to somebody on the beach.
It predicted the pandemic conspiracy theory.
Okay,
yeah, predicted 9/11. It predicted
that.
Trump's presidency.
With
It predicted
that.
AIDS.
It predicted AIDS.
In the movie, it's a whole thing. Like,
There's a lot of AIDS in this movie.
Yeah, but AIDS had
Oh,
already
yeah.
been a thing for like 10 years.
no, I know, but it's interesting. It's interesting. It's in the way of the pandemic and how the pandemic is now featured in films, kind of like it pops in every once in a while. Not
It's like a literal plot point in this movie.
Yeah, exactly. And like the sort of like stigma or kind of like pops in, and then like there's even a whole march that I'm pretty sure is revolving around.
That was like it was an AIDS march. Like all their signs are like increase research, and you're like, oh, this is about AIDS. So at least they're addressing it within the movie while also using it as kind of like a weird rusty dagger. Being like,
it's interesting. It was just like a used as a function plot point. Sort of like it was a time capsule. It's like a time capsule.
The whole reason the guy shot himself at the beginning of the movie is because he thought he had AIDS.
We'll get just before we get to that,
because he was homophobic. Yeah.
Before I lose my thought, I just want to point out that to what you said earlier, Steve, the techno thrillers, which were movies we did this month, they were pretty much all techno thrillers, give or take. They all came out within a 5-year span. I realized. From 92 to 97, the four movies we did. And
that start popping off at that point.
Well, I bet we could do another whole month of these movies.
Yeah, there's lots of them. They started in the 80s, and like a lot of them are really low budget because like everybody who was into that kind of thing were considered weirdos. So there wasn't a huge market for it.
Those computers will never catch on. They're like video games, which will also never catch on. They're going away like the Dodo Boyd.
But then and into the 2000s and even up till now, it's like, Ready Player One even is just like, imagine the whole world was a computer. Like,
I feel like it's I always forget that The Matrix is a hacker film.
Mm-hmm.
Like I always forget that. Like it was a part of that production of like when hacking stuff was cool, and it was like
it was the rise of sort of the collective understanding of what the internet was, and movies could get away with showing it but not having to go into too much detail.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And with that, we're going to go into the body
Thanks, Neo.
of the show.
Man, those sound bites are gonna make this show pop so much better.
I'm gonna get one that I'm gonna get the parts of the show, at least the beginning, middle, bulk part of the middle, and the ending. Like I'm gonna do that first. Raul, thank you for being here for this experimental episode.
My pleasure.
This is going to be the beginning of a good summer. But yeah, we now are in what I like to call the body of the episode, as though it were some sort of essay. And now we can just freely talk about the movie. Do you guys want me to sort of go through the points, or do you want to just talk? Because we already mentioned...
I'll tell you what I want. I want some good old quality time with my Nintendo and my Sega.
Oh my God.
I wrote that down too.
I wrote that down as well. Yes, that's my second note. First note was man talking business. Third note, kills himself.
Oh, okay. My first note was sharp cinematography right out of the gate. I think that it gives a good setup. The old saying like start with a bang or whatever, right? That's an old Hollywood saying, which is like start with a bank robbery, start with a gunshot, start with something exciting. And I think a man saying that he'll see his family soon and then shooting himself in public, it's pretty exciting. And then we get that sort of nice sort of panning shot that moves over a neighborhood and slowly goes down into the skylight of a person who maybe hasn't left their
scene. A real statue from that area? Do you know?
I think so. I can look that up.
It was a cool looking statue of like a guy trapped in the earth, sort of, or something.
Oh,
really?
Yeah. The part of the hand and the face coming out, was really cool.
I totally forgot about that.
I was wondering if this movie was actually filmed
It is.
in Los Angeles.
It is, yeah. It was all shot in LA. The Miranda, or sorry, the Moscone Convention Center is like a real place that I've been to in real life.
Yeah, but the Santa Monica Pier, when they were actually in, well, fuck, that scene is weird. But when they're actually,
I looked it up. All the locations that they're in are the actual locations of the area. And the statue is called the Awakening. It was made in 1980. It's a 72-foot long statue made by J. Seward Johnson Jr. that depicts a giant embedded in the earth struggling to free himself.
Nice.
Seward Johnson Jr.?
Yeah.
This is a real. That's funny that's real. That's...
J. Seward Johnson Jr. Yeah.
He sounds like a golden era Superman friend.
I might have to take my hoodie off. It's way too hot.
Yeah, probably.
I'll be back.
Also, you're drinking vodka. It's gonna be a
warm me up.
Hot day.
You didn't have to announce it to us either.
Yeah, you could have just done it.
What was I gonna say? Okay, so can you hear us?
Yeah, I think so.
Taylor, you can hear us?
Yeah, he's using a cell phone somehow.
Okay, I was gonna say some of my first notes. My first two notes were obviously what you guys said, which was quality time with Nintendo and Sega, but also was his last meal was an apple that he didn't even finish. Why would you make an apple the last meal? I was like, an apple?
Yeah,
and
I'd have
don't even finish the whole thing.
Yeah, I'd have really thick, heavy linguine with like a mushroom sauce, Alfredo sauce.
Yeah, something like I'm gonna go today. Yeah. I'm gonna go. I want to eat heavy. But this was an apple he didn't even eat the core of, which I would fucking go for.
Yeah,
do you eat the whole thing?
Whole steak dinner.
If I'm gonna kill myself, I'm like, I'm gonna eat the whole thing.
I gotta eat the whole thing.
I mean, technically, the last thing he ate was the bullet. Am I right?
Oh my god!
Exactly. He's all full now.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was the apple, and it's like a whole paper bag for an apple. Mm-hmm. I was like, what a silly guy.
Maybe he ate the rest of his lunch. Maybe he had a bag lunch.
You know what? Maybe
a
you're
sandwich or something, and a banana
sandwich, juice box, apple.
Yeah, a little juice box, a cheese string.
Right? Yeah.
Cheese strings.
Kool-Aid. What are they called?
Oh, Sunkist, or
it was like a baggie.
Yeah, the Capri Sun. It's called a Capri Sun, people.
Capri Sun. That's it. Yeah.
Sippy bag is what we called them, and they were
little
cheap.
sippies. Little
Remember
spurts.
sippy bags?
Those are the best.
Pull the corner off and just get the fucking.
They're very hard
pure
to find.
Sugar. Now,
I've seen it at Sobeys once or twice, and sometimes some corner stores.
Farmers used to make them. Farmers is a Nova Scotia milk company that made these sippy bags that were just like a bag. Like, we have bagged milk that are like this big.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't think too many people know about bagged milk. I think it might be a maritime thing.
No, it's here for sure.
Or maybe is it Canadian?
It's a Canadian thing.
Canadian?
But think about like one-quarter of one of
Ontario,
those
East.
filled with the sweetest nectar of the gods.
I remember on pizza days they would huck those around full of orange drink.
I used to OD on the fucking
on
the purple drink constantly.
And there was a technique for stabbing the straw in, and idiot kids wouldn't be able to do it, and they'd shoot milk all over themselves, and I'd laugh.
You'd laugh and you'd laugh.
I just
laugh.
bite the corner
sipping my chocolate milk undisturbed and dry.
So we're introduced to Sandy,
and she's playing a Doom style video game.
She's playing
I was
Wolfenstein
gonna say
3D.
Duke Nukem.
Come on.
It's Wolfenstein.
It's Wolfenstein.
I did.
Is
I
it
did clock
Wolfenstein?
it
I don't know.
It's
I was too
Wolfenstein
young
3D.
to ever play any of these games when I was a kid. So
yeah. Does Duke Nukem look like that though? Because when I first
they
saw
all
it,
look like that. They
No,
all
hold
look
on.
like that.
Since we're on Twitch, and I'm the video game guy on the show, Wolfenstein 3D came out first. Yeah, that's right.
What the fuck? Where do you get off being the authority on being?
I'm the authority on old school video
I'll
games
get
around these parts. I'm from the net. Wolfenstein 3D came out, and then Doom came out shortly after. And at the time, Duke Nukem was actually a side scroller. Duke Nukem 3D would come out many years later and then evolve the first person shooter to be able to like look around, but it was still very like the sprites were like kind of still 2D kind of. But it was awesome. It blew my mind. It had strippers. It had gore. It had you could look.
Shake
like
it, baby.
Shake it, baby. Shake it, baby.
Yeah, Duke Nukem came out the same year as this movie.
Hey.
The original like side scroller Duke Nukem.
No, the original side scroller came out in 1991.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're in 95 now.
Oh, Game Lord.
What did you just call me?
The Game Lord has been challenged.
Listen, 3D.
3D, and then Duke Nukem 2 came out in 1993, and Duke Nukem Out of Time came out in 1998.
When did Duke Nukem
Have you guys
Forever
ever had
come
an
out?
anchovy pizza?
Duke Nukem Forever came out in 2011.
Oh yeah, she orders an anchovy pizza.
Yeah.
Yes.
She's a
Forgot about
reverse
that.
Ninja
Deliver
Turtle.
anchovy.
You know what? I had never had it until recently.
Thoughts?
It's not
How
that
was it?
bad. It's not that
Okay.
bad.
Pretty good.
It's
Salty?
Yeah, it's
It's
anchovies are
extremely salty. Like more
It's like-
salty than fishy.
Mozzarella cheese is already pretty salty on its own. If you have pepperoni on there, those are salty as well. And then if you add anchovies, you're basically just like salt shaker in the mouth.
It's funny.
Overwhelming.
It's funny how like casting wise in this type of movie, like especially in this era, God forbid they cast someone like a main character or even like supporting character that is realistically a recluse, ugly person.
But okay, it's
So
so
it's
it's
like-
like be an ugly person, but Sandra Bullock at this time and forever, she's still a beautiful woman.
Gorgeous.
But she has the most movie star good looks.
Yeah.
And she's like young and more vibrant and like just like brand new on the scene. I think she does Speed right after this.
But they're also not doing anything to try and make Sandra Bullock, who is a beautiful person, look as though they're reclusive and like,
Yeah,
you know,
She's
hasn't
exactly.
showered
constantly
in a
washing
couple
her
days.
hair and combing it out to make it look amazing. She doesn't
Yeah.
wear glasses. She's always
No.
got makeup on.
Yeah,
It-
but she
it's the
eats anchovy pizzas with like a bowl of Skittles
And talks to these weirdo dorks.
Yeah, it's like I don't know who to talk to.
Well, they
It's 'cause I-
allude, I think
Yeah.
they do allude
You
to
got
her.
4 guys right here.
I think they do allude to her being uncharacteristically hot a couple of times. One of them being when that guy's like, "You did our cybersecurity so good, and also can I take you to dinner?" She's like, "No,
Yeah.
I got my own stuff." He's like, "Please
Yeah.
let me take you to dinner."
You gotta eat.
Please, I'll do anything.
I'll do anything. And then Jack Devlin.
I'm
is
so lonely.
Jack Devlin is also a beautiful man who notices that she's an attractive lady and then actually becomes attracted to her by, almost in a like,
He's like, I was supposed to kill you immediately, but
Yeah, but then I had
very
to have-
large
Frisky
erection.
first.
Yeah, I don't know if we're there yet, but like I have thoughts about that guy too. Also, he's also like, isn't it crazy living in this world? And we're both on the beach, but we both love our computers.
trying to
It's
find
so
a
hard
place
to-
What's living when you
Plug
don't have your
a modem
laptop 3 feet
Yeah.
away
Oh
at
my
all
God.
times?
I'd
It's
like,
like-
to.
And I was like, out for a while, I was like, there's no way this movie's trying to convince me this guy's, a good guy or trying to confuse me about that. And I think the movie kind of is trying to do that a bit at the beginning, very
I've never
beginning.
seen it, so I didn't know, and I was legitimately like confused
Really?
for a second.
There's no way someone
I mean,
did that.
They don't
You're
linger
too
on
good
it for
to be
very
true.
long,
No.
guys. It's like we've got maybe 5 minutes of them having dinner together before he's like, "You there? Stop! Bring that purse back!" And he's like, "Give me that, you fool! Where's the disc?"
and then shoot him.
Yeah, it's like it's so funny, but the movie is as soon as you see him, you're like, okay, this is fucking evil because he's got an accent and he's got slit black hair.
Slick black
He
hair.
orders a martini with onion in it.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's just sort of like, and I was like, I
Well-
wasn't sure if they were trying to convince me he was if he was good or bad or not. And then when they show you the weird Spanish guy stalking them, I was like,
Yeah.
okay, they're trying to throw me. They are trying to convince me this guy is possibly an okay guy. And it's like,
Yeah.
no, he's absolutely not.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I did say we could jump around, but like there isn't much before she actually goes to Mexico. So
We can take our time.
Before
Sorry.
we go to
can-
Mexico, though,
Yeah.
before we go to Mexico, I just got to bring up because we were talking about it in chat, but I made a note of it. In the note, as I was watching, is like, did she just call herself a simp? And I thought that term
Yeah.
was relatively new.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
simp has been around for a while. It just used to just mean simpleton, like in this era.
right.
Now it's evolved into like a mean thing to say on the internet about boys who are being nice to girls or whatever. Right.
Well, this happened. What's weird about this is she used it in the today's modern context where.
I mean, if you look at it through the lens of 1995, she
True.
was probably just calling herself an idiot.
Right before this phrase got memed on the internet, I called myself a simp as in simpleton to my friend Aaron, and he was like, "You're not a simp. You don't like, lust
married.
after women. You're married." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he was like,
How do you think I got my wife?
Yeah, I was like, Madison simp. No, I was just, I was like, I'm a simp for something, and he was like, I was like, no, I meant simpleton. So somehow it works both ways, but only because this movie has her using it in this weird, different context.
Almost like a double
Well, I
entendre.
mean, what it means is that you are being apathetic, empathetic, or giving too much attention or affection to somebody in exchange for a relationship or sex, which I don't think that she had either of those things in mind when she was going to go help that guy with.
But she was like, "I'm horny."
But she was kind of giving that, yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting, Jason. I also used it recently, simp, in its older version. Because I was like, as soon as I said it, I was like, wait, I can't say that in that way. But I said, I was like, oh, I go to breakfast at Boom's like a simp.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh wait, that's loaded now. That's not the same thing.
You gotta go full simpleton, like a simpleton. Also, it's funnier to say simple.
It is funnier to say simple.
Now
Now bring that. Yeah.
More syllables equals funny.
Now, if you say simp, it implies that you pay e-girls to fart in your bath water and send you jars of it.
Yo, hit him with the fart soundbite.
You want to hear the fart soundbite, Caitlin?
I mean, you laid yourself up for that.
Well, here you go.
Look at you. Now you just sound like
You gotta
happy
do it,
about
man. You can't do it in.
Bait and switch, baby.
$75 for my soiled panties.
But I don't want to jump around too much. Sorry, I went to because we brought up the handsome. I don't
think
buy
we
it.
mostly. So the first bit is just sort of like what she's doing, what her life is like. She's playing video games, ordering pizza online. I don't even know. Is there a pizza place? Is it kind of like nowadays where some places will take Bitcoin? You just have to find the right place. Where there are places in this universe that just had an online order form. Now it's commonplace.
Maybe in this universe, I feel realistically in '95 it still wasn't a thing yet.
No, but like
Maybe she's got a pal at the pizza place, and she always orders from the same place, and she
built a website for that.
because online shopping.
Oh.
Or she's got an automated recording that calls the pizza place when she enters it in the computer, and it's like,
I would like a big pizza, please. Medium.
Large anchovies.
Yeah, she actually never ordered anchovies. It just sort of like the machine is just
Yeah, she ordered pepperoni.
verbalizing it.
she opens it, she's like, God damn it.
God damn it, not again. Every time.
Someone hacked me.
Someone hacked me. The phone hacked
Somebody
me.
hacked anchovies on my pizza again.
Online shopping did exist sort of around this time, like not in the way that we perceive it now, but there were storefronts because the internet, people were realizing you could use the internet for that.
Yeah.
But it was mostly in the like you know that, I don't know if you guys know the website disc.org or Discogs. It's like a CD. It started off as like a CD trading site, but very quickly became like you could like a marketplace for selling CDs, and it existed way back, like way back. So that kind of stuff.
I like CDs. I'm down.
Probably existed.
I didn't get a
around this time.
computer until like 1998. So
That's true. Neither did I. But you
Yeah.
know, it was people were able to do that kind of stuff.
So are we? Is there consensus? This was possible then, or was
This
not
was
possible?
possible. I think it was more.
But
so,
no one was doing it.
Nobody was.
Yeah,
Really
I think it
doing
was more to just showcase things that existed, and it wasn't inventing new technologies. It
Right.
was just like, these are the things that you can do on the internet, but nobody does them yet.
One thing
except
that
for people who are like super plugged in.
One thing that I found to be kind of dumb and has like never existed was like you typing a chat and then a voice saying the words in like computer voice,
Yeah.
which I think is kind of cool. Honestly, like if you
Hello, Smithers. You're quite good at turning me on.
But like if you know it's 1999, you're on AOL and you're talking to your friends and they're coming through in little computer voices, you could change.
Yeah.
What was this? Did that happen in this movie? I don't remember.
For
Yeah,
the movie,
a little bit.
movie, it makes it more.
It's just so we can. We're
compelling.
not reading a screen.
Yeah.
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 It's very much a product of 90s movie making and being like, these fucking people, they're not going to get reading on a screen. We need
These
to make
idiots
it-
don't know how to
They
read.
don't know how to read.
We
need to
talked
make it
about
in,
that
like-
a lot during Hackers, where I was like,
Yes.
when they're hacking, it's all screensavers. Like it's just screen.
But
and
that's the thing.
These guys are like, well,
It's more
if they
exciting.
got to show something, and they
Yeah.
do it in this movie at the end, where the mainframe's being hacked by
and
the
they're just like
virus, and it's
zooming
the
in
screen's
slightly
kind
and
of
zooming out.
melting.
Yes.
And you're like,
Like
oh.
that.
The camera's whip panning over, like, and it's going like,
Yeah.
Like it's trying hard to compensate for excitement when it
Yeah,
doesn't need
it
to.
is.
I like when Sandy Bullock is just when Angie's in there, she's not using too much jargon. She's just saying some things that kind of make sense. It's not like
She's just whispering to herself in order for us to like know a little bit about what she's trying to do, right?
It's not like in Hackers we're like, hey, you got the new gigaflop unit with the 17 gigawatts.
You got to release your worm, bro.
What's
Nuke the worm.
last question?
Yeah.
I was wondering this earlier. What are the order of bytes? Is it byte and then
Bit?
mega and then giga and then
Bit?
killa?
There's 8 bits in a byte, and then there's kilobyte, and then there's megabyte, and then there's gigabyte, and then there's terabyte, and then there's
Killa, mega, giga, and then tera.
A simple Google search would show you this.
Kilobyte.
Yeah. I could Google every. I don't have to talk to any of you with that kind of response.
That's true.
You do. Steve
I
wouldn't
can
care.
just use Google. I don't need any of you.
You do raise an interesting point whenever we're like, just Google it, and you're like, but I'm just having a conversation.
Are we having fun though?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I am. I don't know if I'm having fun listing the bytes to you right now.
You're right. Okay. I'll meet you both in the middle. I'll say, hey, you know what? Innocent question. And it was I appreciate that it was trying to be fun. I'll meet you on the other end and I'll say, sure, it didn't turn out the way we all wanted.
It wasn't fun. Yeah.
But I respect there you go.
The referee has spoken.
You have fun? Yeah. That's what we're all about here.
So I think
Thank
that
you for humoring me.
Yeah, the entire like purpose of this whole beginning chunk before she goes on her vacation is just to set up a bunch of stuff for us later on down the line, right? To show how we can get away realistically with believing that nobody knows who she is and why, and the people that do know who she is don't know who she is because they've lost the capacity to have memories.
There's an important plot strand through this though, where she gets the virus out of the computer and sends it to her friend Dale.
Yes, I was about to mention that as well.
Yeah, and then she gets the software from him that has the Mozart's Ghost band web. It's like supposed to be a web page, but it's software. It fucking makes no sense.
Yeah, Can you take a virus out of the program? Or do you have to rewrite the program?
I don't think you can take a virus out of a computer the way she did it. I think that's like a movie magic thing, but you could copy the virus to a floppy disk.
Right.
But she like took the virus out of the computer, which I was like, that's not.
I've isolated the virus to my computer and I'm downloading it on this super red disk.
Yeah,
this virus
disk. So, you know, there's a huge virus on it, and it's definitely going to be the MacGuffin that's the fucking.
Hey, if they made the discs the same color at the end, we would have no idea what fucking disc she was using. So
and in classic basic storytelling, it the bad thing at the beginning. It's gonna come back in the end.
Yeah,
it's Chekhov's floppy
and
disk.
we'll explain it just enough so that you'll be like, oh, "Didn't she say something about the escape button at the beginning?"
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So during all of this, when she's talking to her friend, she does talk about how she wants a man who's like Captain America, who always goes for the gusto and has a handsome face or whatever. And then when she's doing this computer stuff, she gets onto Mozart's Ghost website software. She notices a little pie symbol at the bottom that she's just like, that's weird, and clicks it. And then it just opens up NORAD or Mayo Clinic.
Opens up like everything ever important on the internet.
Really similar
all
to
the important
Sneakers, actually. It was really similar MacGuffin to Sneakers, where it's just like she has this thing that's just a backdoor to anything you want to go into.
Anybody want to rob Fort Knox? Anybody want to crash some planes?
Yeah, the blind guy in Sneakers just like doing terrorism. Or joking about terrorism.
I appreciate that kind of stuff though, because it didn't also feel the need to continuously remind you throughout the movie, which I was okay with, because one thing I don't like is when the movie is like, remember, don't forget about it. Wait, hold on, you guys don't forget about this disc, right? But then there's other moments in the movie where they really spell it out for you, like you're a goddamn idiot. Like
yeah. I know what you're talking about too. When we get to the end, I have some stuff too.
I have a feeling we're probably thinking
I'd say it's the exact same thing.
Yeah.
It's like a totally ADR moment
where you're just like, oh god, thanks movie, I didn't need to know that. Can you hold my hand while we walk through the rest of the movie together?
That's so funny. We both have the exact same thing, I think. Yeah.
So Dale, she calls up Dale to thank him for the to thank him for the virus or tell him the virus is being sent, but also to ask him about this weird backdoor thing. And he's like, I don't know, but I'm coming down there because we got to talk about something. And I think it has something to do with this gatekeeper security stuff, but we never find out because he has his own plane for some reason.
Yeah, okay.
Cessna.
His radar gets hacked.
His radar gets hacked.
His radar gets hacked.
He crashes into like a power plant or something.
Although, couldn't you see that shit?
I don't know.
You'd think he said his lights were on, but like, yeah, I guess he didn't. But that was something that threw me off too. Was he had like the fact that this character had his own plane? I felt needed to be said because I was like, the minute he was in his own plane, I was like, wait a second. This guy has his own plane?
Yeah.
That's just not a
I assumed it was a really tiny little plane. Like,
Yeah,
it's a small plane, but it's still like a.
He's got a plane.
Yeah, you got a plane.
You know who has a plane? Harrison Ford.
Well,
Indiana
think about
Jones
it.
has his own plane.
In 1995, you could afford, like, people our age could afford to own homes and stuff. So
Right.
they're in computers.
Yeah.
They're in computers in 95. You know, I think at one point, they're like, "Hey, Angie, this is a nice house you got here." Like, I think these people are well-to-do because they work in technology.
Mhm.
So it stands.
Wait,
to
the
reason.
movie implies that these people are very wealthy. All of them.
All of them.
Every time at the beginning when she is like, you know, you're thanking me now, but wait until you see the bill.
Yeah.
It implies to me that it's probably like thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars.
It stands to
The
reason.
FedEx guy has a nice house or whatever, nice crib or whatever.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what they're bringing up
It
too.
stands to reason that this guy has an aviation like hobby and built a plane or bought a plane and got his license and blah blah
I
blah.
built
right?
this plane with my own two hands.
Anyway, he
Yeah, it's
crashes
also-
it directly into a power plant.
It also just feels like, I guess, when you don't bring it up before he's in the plane, it feels like, oh, you put him in this plane to kill him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
True, right.
I think that's how it came off in my brain, was like, oh, he's just in a plane now. Like,
But
No,
also,
he's
we're
gonna
still
die,
in that
yeah.
we're still in that mystery section of the movie where we don't know why
Yeah.
the guy shot himself really yet, and we don't
Right.
know. Like, this is like, oh wow, his plane went down because of a miscommunication.
Mm-hmm.
But then you find out that the bad guy, the way he kills people, always makes it look like an accident. He was even going to make Angela look like an accident because he took her out on a boat. You know, like he was going to.
but he was going to shoot her.
Yeah, but he's going to make it look like an accident. He had one of those.
She fell down and landed on a bullet.
Yeah, face
Yeah,
first,
exactly.
brain first.
I mean,
anyway,
they're
we're
in a
almost there.
country that has sort of, you know, seems like beach crime that happens. Like they could have easily just.
That's
made it-
true.
Oh, in Mexico? Yeah.
Are they in
Quick
Mexico? I
question.
thought they were in a different country.
No, they keep saying Mexico, don't they?
No, I think she said something else.
I
Someone
thought the country started with a B. Yeah.
You just heard that with your racist eyes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I heard it with my racist,
My racist eyes are hearing things.
They went to
in her little
Mexico.
write-up of her perfect guy, though, the last thing was like Bach Catataz or something like that. And when I first started, as she was typing, I was reading, I thought she was talking about Catan, but I don't. Hi, Madison.
Like the board game?
Yeah. But I don't know what Bach Catataz is or whatever. Or is that Bach's last name? I thought Bach was.
I have
Bach's last
absolutely no idea what you're talking about right now.
You're hearing the country or wherever they were, right? Is what you're talking about?
No. So before she leaves, when
Yes.
she's in the chat room talking about her perfect guy, the last thing she says is, I think, listening to Bach, and then something about katataz or something like that.
Oh no, it's an instrument.
Oh,
What you're talking about when the
Yes.
concerto or whatever? Yeah. She wants somebody to play piano. Basically, it's like a
Yeah.
type of ballad. She goes to Cozumel in Mexico. So you're right, Jason.
damn it,
Right.
that's not a B.
But I don't remember.
She went
them
to
saying Mexico.
Mexquador.
Yeah, anyway, so we get through all this stuff. I think she's being a little bit facetious when she lists off all those things because she's basically describing a man that doesn't exist, which is
To
why
these-
she's not with
To
a man,
these
right?
Megan's
underground
canceling these guys
dwelling
out.
But all I
chud
could think
monsters.
about, all I could think about was these guys are being, some of them are being respectful. One of them is being a bit of a horn dog, but he's not being overbearing.
Would
you
you
know,
settle
show
for
us a
somebody that
picture of
puts
your
the seat
butthole.
down?
Yeah.
Show us your butthole.
He's not being too much. He's not got that super incel attitude, and they're all kind of like, "All right, have a good night. You're one of us. Remember, though, one of us."
Google gobble.
Yeah,
Google
Google
gobble,
gobble.
Google gobble.
But
Gabba, gabba, hey.
I can imagine that the only woman in the chat room describing a man like that to you would probably be like, no,
Aw.
that's rude. You know, none of us are like this.
Yeah. I think what's most unrealistic is all those incel guys in the chat room weren't like, fuck you.
Yeah. They just start yelling bitch at
Well,
her.
she wasn't in she wasn't in a Call of Duty chat room.
Oh, that's right, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah.
PGFO.
For some reason.
But then it turns out that one of them was in there and he really was an incel and he took it to the next level.
Yeah. And then one of them was also like could be trusted.
I mean,
Well,
actually, technically he wouldn't be because he definitely had sex, which goes against the
No, wait,
entire
I don't
acronym.
think- are you talking about Devlin? I don't think he was in the chat room. I think he was watching what she was chatting. Because
Oh,
at first I thought he was one of the
Oh,
people in
right.
the chat
Okay.
room.
Yeah.
But and then because Cyber Bob Robert Fox or whatever was an actual person that
Right.
he killed, I was like, oh shit, because I thought he was Cyber Bob at first, and then when that shit happened, I was like, oh, he was just like monitoring her screen or some
Got
shit.
it. Yeah, that makes sense. That's right.
That's good insight actually.
Yeah. I depending what part we're at now, like,
We're gonna go.
Yes,
We're,
it's
in,
Mexico.
Yeah.
we're at
Well,
them on the beach dating, right, or
We'll-
whatever.
We'll,
Yeah.
we'll say what happens next is basically she wants to meet Dale. She's going to meet Dale before she goes to Mexico.
Gotcha.
She gets a call. She finds out he's dead. She's like, okay, I'm going to go to Mexico. I got to take my trip. It's not refundable.
She also stops in to see her mom first, and
right.
True.
and they
Yeah,
really,
right.
really like to drive home how much Alzheimer's she
She's
has,
got
where
the
it's like,
craziest
okay.
Alzheimer's I've ever seen in a movie.
Like to the point that she like you would be surprised if she looked in a mirror and was like, "Hello, ma'am. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You go first. Oh, I'll
When
go first. Oh,
they
okay, no, after you."
never play Alzheimer's like this in movies. They never play
Because
it like
it's not
they,
realistic
They
and it's
never
weird.
pop out of it and be like, "Oh, I remember you," and we don't get
Yeah.
one moment of her remembering.
Recognition.
Not a single moment.
Hmm.
The only thing that she remembers is whatever the fuck that was that she brought her to eat.
The
I'm like,
song?
what are those pretzel chocolate
Roca-
sticks or
Roca-
something? Tell me what that
yeah,
is.
Boca Roca candies or whatever.
I remember one thing. Bring me more candies.
Bring
Yeah.
me more candies.
I ate all the other ones already.
When she says, "Don't let the nurses eat them all this time, Mom," I'm like, the nurses didn't eat those. She definitely ate them herself and
Yeah.
just was blaming it on the nurses.
Who ate all my chocolate?
Bring me back some of that chocolate the next time
you
come.
ate them, you fatty.
What would be your guys' desired? Like, if someone were to bring you a snack, what would be your snack of choice?
If I had Alzheimer's,
Yeah.
That changes my answer completely.
because that changes my answer. Because then I could just be like, "Oh, I forgot I had this."
I forgot my answer, so I'm changing it to snowballs.
At work, we get these.
Yeah.
We get a great snack cupboard at work. Okay, I work for one of these companies
A
that gives you.
Charcuterie, what's it called charcuterie?
No, not a charcuterie board. That's when you get meat,
It's cheese and meat.
Yeah, no, like a cupboard with snacks in it. It's always changing, but they've got these those Nutella dipper things. That's what
Oh,
I want.
nice.
Just
That's
Oh,
good.
kind of like the cheese whiz dippers,
Exactly.
like the stick and the cheese, but it's Nutella.
Nutella and like a little cookie stick.
Like a
Yeah.
fondue, a tiny
That's
fondue.
delicious.
It's amazing.
Beef patty doesn't count,
Dry
right?
fondue.
That's too big.
Cold fondue.
Listen,
No.
man,
Room
you have
temperature
Alzheimer's.
fondue?
You can have whatever you want.
I can get a beef patty.
Yeah.
Yeah, get a beef patty
That's what my
Spicy
wife
or
said.
regular?
with the cocoa
Mild,
bread or
mild.
just on its own.
That's a good answer, though. I like beef patties a lot too.
I used to keep
I
them in
think
my
I'm gonna
freezer and
stick
eat
with
them.
my joke answer, which was snowballs. I don't know if you guys ever had them.
I love snowballs. Those are fantastic.
Oh, you're talking about like ice cones?
Let me
I
just
thought
describe
that's what
to
that
you
was,
what they
too.
are.
I think
Okay, so
no, ice cones
A
it's
would
powdered,
be the
a
same.
powdered donut.
No.
let me just describe it to you, and you can stop guessing, and then you'll know. It's a very fluffy, sort of like moist marshmallow interior that is coated in chocolate and cookie bottom,
Oh.
and then it has coconut sort of sprinkled
Coconut.
all over it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Viva Puffs are sort of like the cookie version of the snowball.
Except they're
very
much
good.
smaller,
So they're much
and they don't
smaller.
have the jelly
They don't
inside
have the
them.
jelly. Yeah, they don't have the coconut on them.
And I think it's a different type of chocolate.
So they're
Second place,
completely
peppermint
different.
patty, frozen. Yeah.
I
What would
wrote.
make me really happy is if someone brought me some A-Dub burgers.
Oh man.
But they don't need to go that far.
That's a meal.
Sour grapes. Sour grapes.
Sour grapes.
Perfect.
Sour
They're
like
very
the candy.
hard to find. Yeah.
They're not. Go to a convenience store or a candy store. The bulk.
But also, when people are old, they love like potent ass candy because their
True.
taste buds.
Oh,
are
their
all
taste buds
shot.
are all gone.
Yeah.
That's so funny. It is funny that
They're
the
awful.
idea of like making someone go through the task of getting some really hard niche candy
Yeah.
Don't you love me anymore?
I want one of those tins of cookies, but like instead of having old sewing equipment, I want the cookies in there.
Yeah. Yeah, you just keep eating needles and yarn.
These cookies are delicious.
I feel like I'm
extra
like the
buttons.
only one who's like more used to seeing it actually filled with cookies, because I
lucky
see the
you.
memes all the time, and every time I go to my parents' house, they have those, and they're just full of cookies. There's no
lucky.
sewing needles in there.
The cookies are kind of mid, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, no, they're like
it's
they're
more
cookies
it's the desire that you want.
the smell. It's my mom is very Scottish, and she likes tea and stuff, so she always has little like cookies to have when she's sipping.
That's awesome.
Orange poke?
I don't know what that is.
Orange pokey. Orange
Type of tea.
Orange poke. Anyway, rails,
Orange
people.
Pico? I'm
Orange
sorry.
Pico.
Yeah, that one.
Sorry. Kaylin threw
Like,
me
what do
off.
you guys? I thought you guys were naming another candy. I'm like, I've never heard of orange poke. What is that?
Orange Pokemons. I wrote down a Britain's man orders the same drink she likes. She orders the same and they chat. He's also a computer man. His name's Jack Devlin, the most 90s name ever. He's either the hero or the bad guy, and I wrote LOL in my
Too
notes.
perfect to be true. Too perfect to be true.
Yeah, definitely the bad guy.
Yeah.
My
Nice
next
try.
note is...
His name has the word devil in it.
For real.
My next note, not knowing that he's the villain, the fucking complete antagonist, is this guy is a weirdo. He thought he was the cat in Breakfast at Tiffany's. Because they have that conversation, they find out. Well, they don't find out because he just.
Have you
knows
guys ever
everything
seen that
about it.
movie?
Yeah.
I've seen it through the lens of
I've never
George
seen it. I kind
watching
of want to
it
watch it because of this movie.
in Seinfeld. It's a great classic movie.
What I know.
Andy Rooney plays an Asian man in it, and that's
That's what I was
great.
gonna
It's
say.
pretty problematic
Sounds
now.
super racist.
Yeah.
He
Not
does
a movie I would
like
ever
the
want to
buck
discuss
teeth and like
on
the
this episode.
Yeah, that's why when he's like, I always imagined myself as one of the characters, and it's like, oh, which one? Yeah, please don't even
The
give me-
cat?
don't even give
Yeah,
me-
no, I'm the cat. I'm the cat. Oh no.
Yeah, but very unbelievable, cute story. Just awful. And she's like, "That's such a cute thing. You thought you were the cat," and like,
sploosh. Is what
yeah,
And
she's
he's like,
already-
wait a minute. Oh,
She's a very-
jeez. I have to
She's
kill
a
you
very
soon.
smart individual.
She is?
Why does she fall for this?
Because
so
she's on
easily?
vacation. She's let all of her. She's leaving her. She's trying to be dumb. Not trying to be dumb, but she's trying to leave her life behind, and it's her first vacation in years.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to do what she normally does. She doesn't want it. She wants to unplug.
Yeah,
Kind of.
she's
Still
been drinking
has a
martinis
computer.
all day, and the guy
That's
seems
true.
nice
There's no way
enough.
like a
She
cyber
deserves
criminal.
something nice.
There's no
She
way a
deserves something
cyber
nice.
criminal, the very thing that she does for a job, is going to catch up because she found a suspicious piece of software that's impossible.
Yeah.
What's up?
But also,
Mike
if I was in that
Mongiardi the
position, I
chat?
would not trust him at all. I'm
Yeah,
suspicious
any-
of everybody
yeah.
at all times, even my people I've
Especially,
known for
yeah.
years.
Especially British people in
Yeah.
Mexico.
Mexico. British people don't go to Mexico. They
Also,
would burn.
Where
Devlin-
do British people go? Do they have beaches over there?
They go to Geordie Shore.
Dude, it's a fucking island, Kalen. There's so many beaches. Their whole perimeter is surrounded by beaches.
There's a place.
Kalen, I'm on your
down
side.
south-
I didn't know.
There's a place down south called Geordie Shore, and that's where all the. Can you say chav? Is that an okay word to say? Anyway, that's where all the fun people, the New Jersey types, are, according to the show Geordie Shore, which is the British version of Jersey Shore.
That's so funny. Yeah,
That's how Jason gets all of his information.
That's
for the
how
show.
I know everything about
Yeah.
race, from different variations of Jersey Shore.
I hear
A
British
very
people like
overly
Canadian
racist.
accents.
from the Shoreverse.
Yeah, the shore over,
The
like
Shoreverse.
Florida Bama Shore,
Yeah.
and there's a Spanish one now, I believe.
Is there?
I think so.
That's so funny.
Oh,
But yeah,
man.
anytime there's a British man in a warm beach, it's like Bond villain, like or,
Yeah.
or-
But he's also wearing like a full tweed, like not tweed, but like a burlap suit or whatever. You know, like
yeah. It does not. He does
Linen?
not look
Maybe linen?
maybe linen.
maybe
yeah.
linen. Too warm
But-
for beach.
It's probably not burlap. Yeah, no one wears a suit out of
I
burlap.
don't know about you guys, but the most perfect beach in the world didn't look perfect.
I think
No.
that maybe she was reading only the countries that had their websites up at the time. She wasn't actually
So
looking at pamphlets or going to any kind of travel agent. She was like, well, this one has a website.
This one has a website and it has a beach.
And it has a beach. Also, Devlin is typically not a surname; it's a first name, and it's an Irish name. So there's a lot suspicious about this.
It was Devlin or Decepticon.
Yeah, Deceptiononia.
My name's Jack Decepticon.
Actually, Alan Champion
Ooh, on the nose
is a fantastic, just random name, and that's played by Dennis Miller. So we'll get to that in a minute. But
yeah, we'll get to that.
Alan Champion. Speaking of wacky names in this movie. So this is where I wrote, nerds in TV and movies were comically hot in the 90s.
Yeah.
Then she immediately just goes on a boat with him after having like a couple drinks and dinner. He wines her, he dines her, and he most certainly 69s her.
What? How do you know he 69s her?
He doesn't.
Why not?
Why most certainly?
It's his headcanon.
Yeah, my headcanon is they 69'd.
Yeah.
Most sex scenes in movies for you.
It's because when he went down,
wise.
remember when he goes underneath and he like takes the gun and reloads it and stuff? He has the boat keys and he's spinning it around his finger and he's saying 69, 69, I'm going to 69. And then he puts the keys in the drawer.
Sorry, I got ahead of myself. At this point, he's only wined her and dined her. Then they walk down the beach. They have that moment where he's like smoking a cigarette and she's like, I used to smoke.
Were they menthols? It was a green pack.
Probably. They were definitely Newports.
Galen, you have so many very specific questions about this movie.
And that's where I wrote, he's a heel, because that's when the beach man who is watching them earlier runs out of the woods, snatches her bag.
Very awkwardly, I will say. Just like
bag, you bitch.
The shot is almost unintentionally comedic because it's just a shot of them and they're like, what are you going to do? I don't know. Maybe do something, whatever. And they're like, yeah. And then this guy comes out of nowhere and yanks it off her, and the shot lingers on them a little too long.
Just slightly too long,
yes.
Yeah, and she's like, he's just watching for a minute.
Exactly. And it's like, you cut away or cut from behind them at this point.
Yeah.
Because like, this is just watching her go like, fuck.
She's like, my purse is in that purse.
Yeah, exactly. It's so awkward. But I will say, okay, so we're around... Something I wanted to note, this is one of the very few things that I was like, okay, that was pretty good setup and payoff, was she's cold. He has a coat.
Yeah.
Doesn't give it to her. And gives her a handkerchief for her waist. And I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
And then, but it's because he has a gun in his coat. And I didn't clock that the first time I saw it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was like, what a bonehead move.
It was pretty dick move though. Yeah, I was like, oh man, you're right. Yeah, I said the same thing. I was like, you're.
She's even kind of like, what do you mean? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Which also means that he definitely left his jacket full of guns on the beach while he was swimming.
Yeah.
Imagine someone was just sifting through it looking for a wallet like a kid just trying to be a pickpocket, and he's like, holy shit,
This guy's got
there's a silenced pistol in this jacket.
And one of them movie
I'm gonna go
silenced
hunt
pistols
some
that just
sharks.
goes pew, pew, pew.
Yeah, for shark hunting. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. For shark hunting, which we'll find out. He roused the purse. It's a setup. He's after the disc that she has, which has the concert thing on it. Mozart's Ghost, was that what it was called?
Yes, Mozart's Ghost.
So he kills the accomplice, cuts his own hand, which I also thought was like a really weird, like, I got in a fisticuffs with a guy and he cut my hand and made off with your
I think
whole bag.
I think that would probably grease the wheels a little bit to get her to get onto the boat with him. Like, I have a first aid kit on my boat.
Right.
Do you think you could come help me do this?
It didn't feel like a believable wound to me. If someone came to me after chasing a mugger or whatever and his hand has a slit, I don't buy it.
Well, maybe the guy came at him with a knife, like, yeah, and you just put your hand in.
Oh, God. That actually happened to my dad.
Okay. You made it believable.
That
I'm
happened
down.
to my
I'm
dad
down.
when he was like probably 22.
Oh, wow.
Somebody crazy came to his apartment to like get money. Some crazy landlord came to get their landlord money.
Holy shit.
Like, it's perfectly reasonable. But they had a knife because he wasn't paying. This doesn't put my dad in the best light, but the long and short of it is he grabbed the knife away from the woman. And he never tells any more of that story. So
A female landlord, you said?
there's a lot of things. There's a lot of parts of this. Speaking of statute of limitations, Caleb, I think my dad might have killed a guy or woman.
Or a woman. That's so funny. The more the story gets revealed, the more
the
we're
more
like, yeah.
I've never said the story out loud to like a group of people before. And now not only is he like ducking his rent, but it's a woman trying to collect, and he's a man and she's a woman, so she needs protection.
Yeah.
After
he kicked down her door.
And now my dad has this jar full of teeth labeled landlord teeth, and it's way too many teeth to be one person.
Yeah. And he says that
and it's worse either way.
Yeah. Fuck, that's funny. They finally 69. I wrote they
get frisky.
They finally kiss and bang. I thought he was gonna kill her.
Well, yeah, so did he.
He thought he was too. But then he fell in love, and but it's funny that when she starts rambling, quote unquote rambling the way she says she is, he's just like he looks away and he's like, "No, I'm gonna kill you.
No, I'm gonna kill you. You're saying you're
all
crazy.
I'll say is the penis is our weakness. Anyone can get away with anything by just entertaining the penis.
I don't know.
Speak for your dang self.
Yeah, I don't know about all that.
It could, something's happening. So I was like, hey, what about this? I'm like, okay.
If I had a specific mission that was very, very important, I think I'd be able to put my wiener in my own butt for a second and be like, tuck it back and forget about it. Get the job done.
What if it was the one person on your list of like who you share with your partners? Like, okay, if I have the chance with this person, I'm allowed to, kind of thing. What if it was that person?
No, what? No. If I have a very important mission, the mission comes first, man. Unless that's my mission.
It does give so much weight to what he said. It's really wild.
You need to get one that's like,
as if we're on Bill Maher or something.
Oh my god, I love the applause one. It's okay, but the applause is like
the applause is
I
good.
Just put it at the end of anything anybody's saying, and it makes it seem like
I almost yelled "you spineless simp" at the end.
It's like when you make a picture with the like a what's it called? Those Sundance film like has like the reef around it.
Oh
makes
yeah,
it
the little awards.
Yeah,
I'm gonna start putting those all over our thumbnails.
It's just stuff we've said.
Yeah.
Instead of famous quotes.
See, Winer and Diner and 69 Ter.
Yeah. The mission comes first, you stupid simp. Oh, man. But I will say that his motives are very unclear for quite a long time until he realizes that he's been got by her, sort of thing. Right?
I also think he likes killing people a little bit in creative ways.
Yeah, he does have
killers
sort of
do. I'm pretty sure killers do. Yeah,
most killers enjoy killing. I think. I think that he did have a weird sort of devilish grill face when he shot the guy in the woods.
Yes,
he's like bang bang.
Yeah.
And then he gets the bag and
he's
whips
like,
it
that was a good shot. He's still moving though. One through the neck.
I've tricked you.
Disc for me and between the discs for you.
You'll never get me, Dudley Do-Right. Definitely bad boy. He's not a good guy.
He's got that bad boy energy.
But yeah, honestly, motivations as far as like what he's willing to do and what he wants to do is like unclear for me. Kind of the whole movie just is like, okay, you want to try to make her kill herself, but at the same time you're gonna shoot her, and then later in the movie he's like, okay, I'm gonna shoot her now. And it's like, you could have done that.
You should have done that immediately.
Like,
he still likes her.
But also, why did they need to kill her anyway? Like, he could have just let that guy run away with the disc and then met him later and got the disc, and then the entire movie would have not happened, right?
That's a really good point. Like, they just do that little thing, and then the credits roll, and we all save an hour of our lives.
Because she didn't even fully really understand what she had, right?
No.
And
yes.
That's not worth the ticket of admission. It can't just end there.
Maybe.
But I think you're right, and you're picking up on, I think it's all these little things like that I don't immediately notice that my brain is noticing, and then I get so fucking confused and bored.
That's the thing is like we've had this discussion before, is that if a movie is very good, you're not going to necessarily pick up on those things, and if you do, you're not going to care because the movie is pulling you along with excitement,
exactly.
Right? And One thing I will say about this moment on the boat, once she does figure it out and he realizes, oh shit, I got so horny I forgot my gun was in the boat. That from the moment that he tries to shoot her up until she crashes into those rocks, it's pretty exciting. Like, I was excited during this moment, and I think it accomplished everything it meant to do in terms of cinematography, music, and just tension, and like, you know, him being like knocked out and her trying to like having to search the boat very quickly. I think it was.
I don't know how to start a boat. I don't know how to do it. Is there a button?
Not a big boat like that? I don't think I would immediately know how to do it either.
I would.
And if the adrenaline was that high, when adrenaline is that high, I can't read. Like, I just actually can't read.
That's why
my ability to read doesn't exist anymore.
She was able to get into the Zodiac and turn it on, but then she couldn't do anything. She rode directly into rocks and got knocked out.
See, that's when I would have been like, I'm good. As soon as I got away, I'd have been like, all right, I'm far enough away. He's not going to catch me. I can calm down, and I wouldn't have crashed. But it was dark. It was nighttime. I don't know what her visual kind of like periphery was.
Maybe she actually does have glasses, and she just didn't want to wear them.
Oh my God, Kaylin, she wears contacts. Except she was swimming, so she had to take them out.
Man.
Holy shit, you're a
but
genius.
Also, so we kind of glossed over what happens, but she kind of figures things out. She whacks him in the head with a bottle. He's knocked out. She gets the key. She gets in the Zodiac, so we're caught up.
She doesn't really figure it out so much as he does, like a classic bad guy, like, well, you'll never believe who I actually am.
Oh no! Yeah. What happens is she's cold and she puts the jacket on and finds the gun, and since she has this superpower of figuring things out with a little bit of information, she
knows about guns, so she's asking.
I mean,
who are you? Yeah. He could have just said, I'm a secret agent. I'm James Bond. You know, like, I'm on a mission and I phone you.
Shark hunting is not the believable lie.
No.
Which makes me believe that he's an idiot. Yeah,
exactly.
They're all idiot geniuses. Idiot genius millionaires. Just like in nowadays, in real life.
I would have been on her side if she was like, fucking shark hunting.
He's like, I'm going shark hunting with my billionaire friends in a submarine down to the Titanic.
And we use guns, real guns, not these pussy harpoon guns. They don't do enough damage. I can shoot a shark in the brain with this from 40 meters away.
I actually like to use dynamite, and pulls out two sticks of dynamite that are already lit.
Bill Gates is bringing a bazooka.
So, what I do want to say about her crashing.
My buddy Bill.
Her crashing.
My buddy Bill Gates, you know him, right?
You know the man, billionaire Bill Gates, as I call him. He does kind of like lunge off the boat onto her boat, and I think that may have altered its path a little bit, maybe as well. But she hits those rocks so hard, and then it's the next day.
I think it's another case of like the purse snatch, where a simple additional cut maybe would have made it a little bit more believable, but it looked like she had plenty of time to turn the boat and just was like, I forgot how to turn this thing.
Yeah.
So
which is fine. I think everything in that sequence was exciting enough that by the time she gets away, your adrenaline starts to taper off a little bit, and you're like, okay, she's safe. Oh, nope. Now she's waking up in a classic nun hospital.
Well, that's it's around this time that I realized it was a hard thriller. Like, pretty much, it's the only genre this movie really is thriller, because of the way that these action sequences are set up and play out. It's always like she's just trying to get away, and then outsmarting people, those are both things that happen in thrillers a lot. But she wakes up in this hospital, and
they're thrilling.
They're thrilling, and the doctor's like, you got to stay. You have multiple.
Can we also mention that he's just fully smoking a cigarette?
Yeah.
Like in the
doctor.
Yeah, it's so funny.
And she's like, I think she has his wallet, and is like, I'll pay you to get out of here. And old Sandy Bullock is a great actor. Throughout this movie, she's a fantastic actor. But her like semi knocked out acting left something to be desired, I have to say.
You know what? I support this. This didn't occur to me, but you're right. I can remember how she was acting.
Her being like,
Also, there's clearly a lot of ADR lines, because when it's like showing, you can hear her being like, "No, my clothes. I just need my clothes. No, my clothes. My clothes.
Yeah, a lot
Where's
of
my
that.
clothes."
Just love repeating.
There's a lot of ADR moments in this movie, because it was.
I did like how she described the floppy disk, like square, green, plastic, or whatever.
Floppy.
Very simple.
It's floppy. Actually, it isn't floppy. It's hard as hell, but it was floppy after getting dried out.
It's
in the
floppy
sun.
if you do the optical illusion.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
Right here. Look, wait.
Alan, get the fuck out of here.
You're drunk.
But he hasn't smoked weed, so he can still get to the point.
Yeah.
He'll still
There you
get to
go.
the point. We just got to give him a second. He's
And
like
I'm
a-
sweaty as shit.
Look
from
how
the hoodie I was
sweaty this
wearing.
man is.
Yeah, you look like you just
so funny.
climbed out of the ocean hunting shark.
I'm sorry,
With a
viewers.
silenced pistol.
That's cool.
I do, as much as like it's an unrealistic sound effect, I do like the
who
the
doesn't
silencer
love it?
noise in a movie.
So
Oh, I love
satisfying.
it. It reminds me of
Yeah.
the James. It reminds me of the GoldenEye N64 game. That
Yeah.
sound.
Is it unrealistic? I've never heard of silencer.
Because
It
silencers
sounds
still
more
make a normal noise. They're just a little bit. They're just.
It
a
sounds
little
Not a
bit
normal
muffled.
noise. It sounds
like a little
cap
pop.
gun. It
It's
sounds
like a
like a
little
cap
pop.
gun. You know, like those
Yeah.
cap guns you have when you're a kid. It sounds more like that than like
Yeah.
a gunshot. Yeah.
But they
Okay.
still sound like there's no such thing as a silencer the way we know them in movies.
Yeah, I
It's not
know.
a
I'm
whisper.
I'm not denoting your point. I'm saying that like,
No, you're both agreeing.
yeah, we're
Yeah.
agreeing. Yeah.
yeah.
But-
Stop
but-
fighting.
But
I will
remember, like
say,
the
me and
shotgun
Steve have
sound
this
in No
thing where
Country
we're
for Old
saying this-
Men. That
yeah.
is the coolest. Like,
I
it's like,
love that sound. I think it's funny. I've repeated that like assassination scene a few times on YouTube.
yeah.
I don't know why. Like sometimes I go
Because
through
you're a
phase where
sick
I'm like,
freak.
honestly,
You're a
sometimes
pervert. Yeah.
there was a while I don't know why, but I had like, all the kills in The Sopranos. I was like, I've never seen this show, but I guess I'm watching all these assassinations.
Let me
But,
just
like-
watch a hot compilation of people
Let's
getting
just spoil
brained.
every death in one of the greatest television shows
yeah,
of all
that I'm
time.
expecting. But no, yeah, that like No Country for Old Men, like
Yeah, it's
that
like
like
this-
whispered.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
like, very good.
Yeah, thank you. Thank
Yes.
you.
Yeah, that was very good.
Um,
But yeah, what were we saying? She's in the Mexican hospital.
Yeah, I
Wakes
just
up
want
in
to
the
say
hospital.
my note for this is waking up in a nun hospital with a smoking doctor at your bedside is a little bit cliche.
Yeah. Also
Just
a little
a
bit
tad.
racist, maybe.
Yeah, in Mexico, the doctors are always smoking.
And she tries to pay her way out of the hospital, which I thought was
Well,
like,
you have to.
just how much do you need? She sees another computer hack thing on the TV where the gatekeeper hacked the planet and hacked the stock market, and then she goes back to her hotel. I wrote that funny, like I was trying to be goofy, but that's basically
Well, it
what happened.
shows the guy who turns out to be the
Yeah,
big bad.
the guy
I
that
mean,
owns the head of Gatekeeper.
his name's like
Greg something.
Jeff
it was Greg.
Jeff?
Greg
Greg.
Jeffrey or
This
something.
is so. This is my other issue with this movie is that like I think a really good story typically has the antagonist featured, or is like
Right.
he's more featured like as a character, and
Yeah.
the fact that he isn't this guy who actually has the personal issue with her, like
Yeah.
in this way, I feel that in my brain while I'm watching it.
We're just dealing with the foil the whole time, really.
The full,
yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This Greg guy,
The
who's been-
henchman, yeah.
this Greg
But-
guy who's like sending this guy out, and like,
But it's almost like the main bad is probably dealing with a whole bunch of other similar situations all over the world with different shit and he's got a million different Devlins and he's got a whole bunch
true.
of Sandra Bullocks that he's like, just kill them, kill all of them.
Steve's gonna hate this, but I have two things about Final Fantasy that pertain to this.
Oh,
this
nice. This is what I was
subject.
waiting for.
First of all, Devlin reminds me of the bad guy from Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within movie, where he's got the slick back
James
hair,
Woods?
the
Yeah.
James Wood character. And I want to bring up there's a character and they subvert the foil thing that in Final Fantasy games there's always like the big bad that's like the last boss, and then a person that kind of follows you through the whole game that's just like constantly messing with you. And there's a character called like Suspicious Man who you think is gonna be revealed to have a name. And he's that kind of character for like a minute, and he gets killed before you even find out his name. So Final
That's
Fantasy.
cool. I like that.
referenced. Yeah,
That's a fun thing.
yeah. I was like, oh, this guy's gonna be following me
I
around.
did that in
and
D&D. I had a
antagonizing me.
character called the Uplander, and they only ever knew his name as the Uplander. Never figured out his real name before they killed him because he refused to tell them. When you see the bad guy on TV, they're like, "Is this some sort of prank?" And then he says, "Short sheeting someone's bed is a prank." And I was like, "What the fuck does that mean?"
Short
What is
sheeting?
short sheeting?
It's when your
someone's
sheet
bed?
doesn't cover your whole mattress.
Is that what it
prank, though?
means?
I think you're short
Sick
sheet.
prank, bro.
Or
Holy
maybe
shit!
it's like
Who
low
did that?
thread
How
count.
did you pull this
Might be a
off?
low thread count.
Low thread count. Why did I hear that recently?
Were you listening to Lil Wayne?
No.
What the short
know.
the low thread count?
Yeah, I feel like I've heard this recently somewhere. But yeah,
Where else
anyways,
did I-
A
where else have I
couple
heard
of
low thread count
stand-up
before?
comedians say
Oh.
it in their acts.
Yes. Is it Nick Swartzen? No. Aziz Ansari. I think Aziz Ansari has a joke about it.
Because
Maybe.
he likes finer things. Mike Monjo in the chat.
This whole bit. Yeah.
Mike Monjo in
You
the
didn't think I was going to count the threads?
Mike Monjo in the chat from the Hackers episode, friend of the show and friend of Raul himself. It's a military prank. That still leaves me to be a little confused. Maybe it's
so. Does that mean it doesn't cover the whole cut?
Maybe that's what it is, or they cut your shit in half. Maybe military people are psychos. It's where you
Maybe
make
you're
the bed
supposed to
in a
have
way
more
that
than
you
one
can't get
sheet.
in.
Oh, yeah.
Tucked.
It's tucked too tight. That's such a stupid prank.
It's a
Wow,
real
what a lame.
military.
But that's when you know you
Kind of
don't
like
have
at
enough.
hotels.
Yeah, but you know you don't have enough tools to make
Yeah.
a good enough prank in like the platoon.
Whatever happened to sticking someone's hand in a blender while they're sleeping?
Yeah, whatever
Yeah,
happened.
It gives them diarrhea or
Whatever
whatever.
happened to shooting the drill sergeant and then shooting yourself?
Yeah, whatever happened to holding that one guy down you want to bully and then just
And then
hitting him again and again with a
hitting him
sock.
with a bunch
Teabagging
of
him
soap.
over and over and over.
bunch of
It's
socks
not
filled
gay,
with
you're
soap.
gay.
You know,
One of the
pranks.
things I said were references
Fill a
from
case
Full
of
Metal
soap bar.
Jacket.
Mine was as well.
Mine was just fun.
Psychotic.
Um,
So she gets back to the hotel. She's already been checked out, and this is where her fucking whole life starts to unravel.
Right.
She doesn't have her
Yeah.
passport. She can't get home, but then a random person comes up to her and makes her sign a piece of paper that says her name is Ruth Knox. Is that the name?
Ruth Max.
Ruth-
I think Marks.
Marks. Ruth
Marks, yeah.
Like Marks. So she
Okay.
signs it because she's like, I guess the only way I
I
can
gotta
go
get
to
the
here
fuck
is
out
get
of
this temporary visa. She takes it, which kind of like she would have been fucked
up.
no matter what getting home.
Mhm.
But in this instance, like she now has a signature of her signing away her rights a little
Yeah.
bit.
Her identity.
That's how I interpreted why that was a whole thing. So clearly that like woman was a plant, maybe.
Isn't that the woman? Who...
Was she though? I couldn't.
Wait.
I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell if the temporary visa passport person was a plant from the badge or whatever, or she was just doing her job. It's like, oh, this is what the computer says. You know what I mean? Like, same as
was
guy
she
at
the same
front
woman?
desk.
Was she the same woman that ends up replacing her?
Yeah, was
in her-
she fake
couldn't-
Angela?
No,
They
it was
both
an
had
old
this-
lady. No. It
No.
was like an old lady or something.
No,
And
she
then
had
the-
red hair and she was pale and freckly.
It's a
and
different lady.
It was a different actor,
Okay,
but
okay.
Yeah.
I think that she was just an actual temporary visa person.
Got you.
Because
Okay.
I think that they wanted to try and find her again to be able to kill her. So they're like, "We'll get her back to her house, and
Gotcha.
then
Yeah.
when she gets there, she'll call the cops, and we can start to track
Yeah.
her."
Hot take. I'll say it now. The reason I find this movie so boring is I feel like this is the first quarter of every like, oh, my identity is lost film. Like the first quarter of any of those movies, this
Yeah.
is stretched out, and
Yeah.
like nothing really happens.
Well, I was gonna
Yeah.
say, she gets back to ballet. Immediately, her car is gone that she had parked there. She goes to her home. Her home has been sold. There's a real estate agent there who's like, "Thanks
Which
for
is
coming
by.
by."
I don't know why it's
Hey,
so
don't
funny.
go
It is
away.
funny.
He's like,
I
"Whoa,
know-
hey, sorry, lady, I was just in the can. You want to see the
There you
joint?
go.
Come on.
Yeah.
Here's
And
the
then lady's
master
like-
bedroom.
I don't know who this woman is. Listen, I'm trying to sell his house.
Hey, where's my cell phone?
Yeah. Then he comes back later in a cutout, in a cardboard cutout. I was like, what the fuck? Is this like world building its own little like town? And like this guy's the real estate agent. I was like, because
Yeah.
we're standing in front of his
I
like
got
building.
20 grand in the bank. Somebody paid me for the house, and now I'm trying to sell it over here. Do I have any takers? No.
It keeps cutting back.
Also,
to
that bitchy neighbor. Fuck
that
her.
bitchy neighbor that was introduced in the beginning, and they don't even do anything with her, but
The
they just show her
Snoop,
She's
putting.
like, how dare
Yeah,
you
how
get a
dare you
FedEx package?
exist?
What are you doing in there?
Well, we find
you
out.
have a therapist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My ex-therapist.
Why would you need a therapist?
We find out in this scene too that like Angela doesn't have any friends. She never leaves the house. She works remotely, so like don't show
This sounds like
movie-
my life,
yeah,
though. Like, this is
don't
kind
show
of my
this
life.
movie to all the corporate dudes and women and overlords who want us to go back to the office, because they're going to see this and be like, see, this is what's going to happen if we let you all work from home. You're going to become reclusive. Then you're going to go to Mexico. And then you
Imagine
get
that was your
software
boss's
stolen.
excuse for not letting you work remote.
I saw.
Have
The
you
Net
seen the movie The Net starring Sandra Bullock
from
from 1995?
1995?
This could be you.
Directed by Irwin Winkler.
Yeah.
no
Oh, right.
relation.
I forgot. That's the other thing.
No
That's the other
relation.
thing. It's like, oh, what if I told you an old man who maybe kind of knows the internet a little bit directed this?
Who read a book written by
Yeah.
Dan Brown.
Yeah, you believe it because it feels like that.
Yeah.
What was that movie, Crawl? Was that one that was like written by an old man trying to like capture a popular fantasy trope at the time, and Krull just like falls on its face
Oh,
because
Krull,
of it?
yeah. He was
That's
he was
funny.
like a director who had made movies in like the Errol Flynn era, you know, like the classic sort of sword fighting, like King
Like
Arthur,
swing
Robin
on a
Hood.
chandelier.
Yeah,
yeah,
chandelier
Three
swinging,
Musketeers
that
and
kind of
shit.
stuff, and then he tried to make this
Swashbuckling.
epic sci-fi a la Star
Swashbuckling.
Wars.
Wait,
What are you yelling over me? Sorry.
I think it's called swashbuckling or something.
Yeah, you got it.
Swashbuckling,
Yeah, like
yeah.
a swashbuckling movie.
Swashbuckling.
Yeah, and then he was unable to do it because he was just past his era, right? The fantasy and like the action movie of the era was being directed by people like George Lucas and Spielberg and Zemeckis and all these up and comers that had this fresh take and a fresh eye of how to film things, and he was still like, chandeliers, anyone? It's like, shut up, old man. I hope a chandelier falls on you and breaks every bone in your body.
And that's why I will never own a chandelier.
That's a
you're
good
scared
reason
it'll
not to
fall
own
on
a
you.
chandelier. Yeah.
Honestly, it could take you away.
But it also could, you know, save your life. You could swing across your ballroom to safety,
For
Caleb.
safety. Yeah. If
Yeah.
lava starts
Damn, I never
flowing.
You're
thought
right.
about that.
If I do get a chandelier, I will have the kind where I have the rope tied at my waist length, so I can grab my sword and then like cut it
And go, ha ha!
to go. Yeah, so it hits the person that.
Also, perfectly human-sized center part.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
So we just sort of this is what you were saying, Ro. Like, it's just a bunch of stuff happening to indicate that she is now identityless and she's this new person. She even tries to call Angela Bennett. The woman is like, "I'm Angela Bennett," and she's like, "But I'm Angela Bennett," and then nobody knows where
The
to
replacement is like a heavy smoker.
Yeah.
I'm Angela Bennett. Who's this?
Yeah.
That's where I wrote, things aren't looking great for the pro tag.
Angela, just hand over the disc. We need it.
We need the disc. The disc.
Why were floppy disks called?
Do you want to know why? Because the original
Okay,
floppies...
the thing inside, right? It's kind of
No,
like
the
flimsy.
big floppy disks from the 80s were actually large. They were like this big. And they were
So they had more flop to them?
And they were very
They
floppy,
were
yeah.
actually floppy. So
Really?
it's kind of like it's one of those like a Q-tip
Carried
things
on
where they just
through
call
generations.
Like a
it the
brand
next thing.
name.
Yeah.
The company was called Floppy.
Right. Like how we call our cell phones phones still when they can do everything
We're
else.
in their computers.
We don't call them pocket computers.
or Kleenex.
Yeah.
You
Or
mean
Kleenex.
tissue.
Yeah. That's a
was
little different, but the Q-tip was a bad example, but the cell phone thing is a good example, actually. The
Thank you.
phones.
Thank you. Just
Thank
give up
you.
that one.
No,
Imagine
where's
we-
the applause at?
Imagine we called our
No applause.
imagine we called our
Oh.
phones floppy disks instead. Like it evolved that way instead. Like we just got to the point where we still call like our telephones floppy disks. Oh, thanks everybody. I just want to thank our studio audience.
It
for
is
being here
wild
today.
how good that is.
They've got a weird
Filming live!
perception. They've got a weird
Yeah.
perception of comedy.
Sorry. I was gonna say. I think it's around this part, or like, there's a few scenes that this happens in where like, this is. I feel like the movie also like, you don't have to restate the like why this is such a bad thing to happen to someone,
Over and over, yeah.
Yeah, unless you're not doing a good enough job at making me feel like this is such a bad thing.
I
Just
think
every
that
time,
this
every time
movie-
she's just like, everything I have, everything we don't know it, but it's all on the computer. And
Every
you lose it.
single thing I got
Every
is
single
in a
thing, and then she
computer.
repeats that a bunch of times. Like, I feel like you're not doing a good enough job, story, at
Yeah,
making me feel that
or
this is a bad thing.
It kind of reeks of like studio notes, like a bunch of old
Maybe, yeah.
studio
They won't get it.
executives being like, "So why is she running? I don't understand.
I'm
What do you mean? Why
confused."
doesn't she just go to her sister's house? You don't
Yeah,
understand.
yeah,
She doesn't have a sister. What about her mom? I
Her
guess we
mom
gotta
has
add her. We
Alzheimer's.
gotta do
You
a couple
came
up with that
reshoots and make her
idea.
mom even more demented.
Yeah, that's why she had to have like late stage Alzheimer's, because that kind
Like-
of breaks the story. If she can come out of it sometimes and be like, "Oh, that's my daughter. I have her birth
Yeah,
certificate."
because then people would wonder why or would be expecting a moment for her to break out of it. I was even still expecting it to happen, but they were gonna not believe her because they're gonna be like, "You're taking advantage of this woman
Yeah,
with
That
dementia
might
or
be even
whatever.
better. Actually, I think that would have been better.
Because there's this tension of maybe like, can
Yeah.
she get her to
To
remember a
snap
little
out
bit
of it.
something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to the old folks' home, and her mom is playing the piano, but she's like sitting backwards on a toilet, like.
Come sit to me next to the window.
That's messed up, actually.
I was trying to think of the funniest place to pretend to play a piano.
That's
It's
really
pretty good.
funny. It's
Yeah,
messed
she's
up.
like straddling the toilet. Like,
Just going.
oh, you wait. I was the other way around.
Yeah. The best thing she can do is so like I alluded to earlier, Angela has this like third sense to like know when things are gonna go bad, and she shows it here where we get the scene, like I said, of Jack Devlin just like giving her every fucking felony under the books. She's got a drug problem,
Prostitution, narcotics.
I think you did a good
larceny.
job of placing placing certain things onto that rap sheet that would make her seem
like
desperate and
discredit her.
unbelievable,
Yeah.
right? Yeah,
She
that's
doesn't look
anything
like
that
any
she's-
prostitute I ever hired.
Wait, what? I know for a fact you've never.
That's why
heard
you
of
need a
prostitute.
button, Jason, that goes ooh, like a sick.
I'll make a note of that. I'm gonna have some good buttons next week. Just you wait. I want to test some weirder buttons when it's just the three of us, because I don't want our guests to have me get lost in the sauce with too much power. So we got applause, we got a fart sound, and we got
Jason, aka God.
Yeah, I'm God now.
Well, I mean, I think needless to say, at this point in the movie, we all understand how terrifying it would be to have our entire identity stripped from us.
As soon as I
and-
saw that rap sheet, I was like, oh fuck. But she out of the corner of her eye, she's watching the cop basically in real time see that she's got this rap sheet, and she's like, oh, I just have to use the washroom, grabs the phone and runs the fuck out of there and calls her therapist, who
all the while the shitty neighbor, the Karen, is like, I can't. Well, she's clearly fucked. She never leaves out.
that would have been a great. There's one F-bomb in this whole movie, but that would have been a great second F-bomb.
Yeah.
What was the first F-bomb?
She says like get fucked when she hits him in the face with the fucking fire extinguisher, I think, or something.
Does she?
I don't think that she does. She says nothing for that whole scene. That's why it's powerful. She says nothing.
One of the times when she gets away from him, it might be when she's
Maybe at the carnival.
No,
Maybe
yeah,
at the
you're right.
carnival.
It's when he says like I am attracted to her, and then she says, I'm surprised you didn't kill me and then fuck me. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
which
true,
is a good use. That's a very good use of the one fuck
Also,
for a PG-13 movie.
real good diss too. That makes you.
Yeah.
That would be like, oh,
my
excuse
God.
me. You think I'm really fucked up, don't you?
Yeah, you got slick black
Necrophilia.
hair.
You give off the energy of a person who would kill someone and then have sex with their corpse.
and you're British. So-
And you're British.
Sorry, British fans.
Yeah, I don't know. Listen, British people are not all evil.
Not all evil, just the inbred ones. So Dennis Miller.
That's true of any country.
That's probably true.
This is the
feel
moment that I
proud
kind
of
of started to
that
pick up
pocket.
on the music in the movie, and the music is kind of all over the place for me.
Yeah.
I like the score though. I like the.
Yes, I will say that the score at times is super effective and really cool. I actually quite enjoyed it. I looked it up afterwards. I'm like, oh, I could maybe use this in my Dungeons and Dragons campaign. But there's also moments where it's so goofy and weird and just not appropriate. The moment when she's about to leave after hacking the computer later in the movie has this weird sort of like brass, like, and you're like, what the? It sounds almost goofy. You're like, what the fuck? But then the music when the purse is snatched and the music when Devlin first shows up is very similar to one another, and it's almost this sort of like primal sort of drum music that's paired with energetic synth and regular orchestral music, and it comes up a few times, but it's almost only ever when Devlin's there, which is like gives you this
Like
sort
theme
of
song, kind of.
yeah. Well, it's not a theme song so much as it is a feeling of her being hunted by almost like a leopard or like a puma or something,
Right.
like a jungle cat. Like he's a predator and he's trying to catch her. And
The
it was
Santa
super
Monica-
appropriate and cool.
Santa Monica Pier sequence comes to mind for that too, where it's the like clown circus-y kind of music playing with like over top of like a really like foreboding like dun 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 kind of a tone underneath, which I thought was a good mix, but also very weird. you know. And also, it all has a pang of like cyber, if that '90s cyber, like
the synth music, yeah, it has like that, like the James Bond GoldenEye soundtrack, yeah, where it's like. It's like weird synth music added into an orchestra score. All right, Kaylin, what do you got to say? Looks like you're pulsating with anticipation over there.
Is this the first time we get triangulating cell phone signals?
I don't know, but I also didn't really was like, is what he said real?
Yeah, that's
put
what
it a ping it, and then send me the 2 coordinates, and then I'll be able to find it within a few hundred yards. Of course,
I'm also a hacker.
I was watching a documentary on spies, and that's how they like caught people by like triangulating signals and cell phone towers and shit.
I think it is. Yeah, it's a real thing.
I'm sure it is, but I just don't know within the context of how it was working there if that's how it works.
If possible, yeah.
Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know. I'm not Henry Winkler or whoever wrote and directed this movie.
Winkler. Yeah.
Sorry, Irwin Winkler.
Yeah, the music for me also is all over the place. But that's
sometimes
why
it's good, sometimes it's shit, right?
See, I thought sometimes it was, for me, it was like I'm way less favorable on this movie than you guys are. But like, yeah, for me it was sometimes fine and then sometimes not, or like very meh.
Somebody in the chat asks, this movie is hard to believe. Do you think Sandra has ever used a computer for real?
I'm sure she's used a computer, yes.
She probably knows how to turn it on and off. Like
she was using a computer in this movie multiple times. I'm sure she was actually using
on these like very realistic UIs.
Or the actual person,
super realistic UIs.
Yeah, she beat Wolfenstein in order to get the role for this. It was part of the audition process.
I like how every website has at least 5 different fonts and colors.
Yeah. They kind of did it during this time too, like unironically, and like this movie is like replicating this unironically, which also just like looking back reeks of irony in a weird way, because it's just like once Web 2.0 came out, and now we're kind of in like it's not really called that anymore, but Web 2.0 kind of like created the way we look at the internet now. Right. It's so much cleaner and all uniform, and like people with design abilities actually got into it. Before it was like you went on Angel Fire and just like jammed a bunch of like GIFs and images and
anything to make it look flashy, basically.
Yeah. And like sounds, and it just looked all jumbled.
A rotating smiley face, a dancing baby in the corner.
Yeah. Under construction.
A flaming basketball going into a basketball net.
But that's the thing. You're not wrong.
Sega.
Can you also get a boo button?
Boo. I was like, and hold.
Just to tie back into the triangulate. Did you guys catch the little Jurassic Park nod? The little
clever girl. And I was like, come on, man! The movie came out literally
2 years ago.
A year earlier. Yeah.
We have to. I've just noticed the time. We have to clip through some stuff. Or I'm gonna get us sort of through this next bit.
Lead the way.
So,
I mean, we can just jump to her with Dennis Miller. Like nothing.
Well,
really
that's
happens.
where we're at. That's where we're at.
Yeah.
We're there.
But that's like there's still so much movie. Still so much.
But you know what? I think after the Dennis Miller stuff, it's gonna be real fast. Because like nothing happens until the end.
Yeah, and all the stuff that does happen is stuff that already happened earlier in the movie. It's just happening again in a slightly different way.
Yeah. I was just gonna say Dennis Miller pops in, and I don't know what it is. Maybe Dennis Miller just has such a Dennis Miller face that I have a hard time believing him as.
He also has he has like an attitude that isn't a real person.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
and
hey,
you're like,
hey, babe, you want to do
You're killing me out here with the food,
vodka?
babe. Can you let me in? I'm trying to get the food. I can't open the door.
It's our favorite Chinese.
Yeah. It's bad enough that like.
I'm sure it's someone's favorite somewhere. Chinese people in China love it. Yeah.
Come on, it's great. But yeah, I know it's bad enough that it's like, she's not in fucking jail. She's not currently being chased. The last thing I need to make this less exciting is him being like, come on, relax.
Have you gone off your meds, babe? Come on.
Yeah. And also, he's in full talk show suit.
He's wearing his talk show attire.
He just Yeah, he just came off of the set from his talk show where he was
His
talking
HBO
to
show.
Norm Macdonald earlier or whatever.
He was just called last minute from her, and this is how he showed up. I was like, "What the fuck? Like, why is it?" It's
I don't even
weird
need to
that
put
took me
makeup
out.
on, babe.
Yeah.
So at any rate, he calls her. She kind of comes to the rescue, but he's kind of a dickhead. He tries to immediately like shrink her a bit, and we also found it a little bit. We found it back on the boat that he was married and her therapist. So when he comes in, it's already like, this is gross. This is like her last call. But by the end of it, I kind of shipped them. Like I was kind of like, it'd be nice if these two got back together. They're kind of okay together.
I didn't believe it.
No,
I mean,
I
it's
thought
all
it
there
kinda
was.
sweet.
I
Yeah,
did.
That's true.
I felt they were opposites attract. She's
Yeah.
got the recluse.
Well,
He's
sorry.
got
When I
the-
say I didn't believe it, I didn't believe him as a character in this movie. Like, he just
Yes.
stands out so
Yeah.
aggressively.
As Dennis Miller.
Yeah,
I think he just has one of those faces.
I think that Dennis Miller as an actor he has to be in a very specific type of role
Dennis
and
Miller
movie,
role?
and
He
this
like doesn't act that.
wasn't
He
it.
didn't act that much.
No, but I mean, if Norm Macdonald is making a movie, for example, and he needs a weird like judge or something, like,
Yeah.
and Dennis Miller is playing the judge.
That's
That's
actually good
he's like,
casting.
order in the court, everybody, come on, babe. What do you have to say for yourself? You're going to jail. Like, that's fine. But in this movie, it's, he has to do a lot of legwork as this character, and it doesn't really come off appropriately for me. And I know that in the 90s in particular, they would take, I mean, they still do it now. It's not like it's a phenomena isolated specifically to this decade, but they would take these really well-known comedians and try and get them in there, either for pull of other, audience that wouldn't necessarily come see it.
You said Dennis Leary, who was used in this way for a long time until he became a more serious actor, but Dennis Miller never crossed over.
I think he didn't have the chops is the problem. He's like a sarcastic weirdo. Who's just
And
like,
even his
"Well,
brand of
I'm
comedy-
here. They're paying my way. They pay for my flight and my lunch.
You don't see Dennis Miller anymore because even that sarcastic brand of comedy died in the 90s. Like, you don't see those overly
He's
sarcastic.
still doing stuff, but yeah, he's a writer mostly now. Like
Okay.
he's a very funny person, but yeah, I think you're right. His edgy 90s attitude is like nobody gives a shit anymore.
Nobody really likes that brand of
All right,
humor
man, we
anymore.
get it. You're a Gen Xer or whatever.
So she rants at him about how they stole her identity, and that's when he's like, "There, you off your meds." But her rant here, and then her rant to the attorney later, very reminiscent of like how a lot of conspiracy theorists view the internet now and Facebook, and everybody's stealing your information. Where it's not, it's much worse than that. Realistically, like when you say things into your phone, there's a speaker that's like selling you ads back to you, right? Like, it's so much worse than people are focused on the wrong things in the conspiracy side.
Listen, if we all say spray paint 5 times out loud right now, there's going to be some sort of TikTok algorithm that's
Spray
gonna
paint
hear
will
it.
pop up behind us.
Dr. Spray Paint will come out of a mirror and spray paint us to
What
death.
something you guys really want?
You go
Let's
into
say
the
that.
bathroom and say spray paint 5 times. You're never going to believe what's going to happen. Stay tuned for
Sour
part
Patch
2.
Kids, Sour Patch Kids, Sour Patch Kids.
This guy really wants some sour candy. So basically he like semi believes her by the time she's done. He says that he's got a friend, Ben Phillips, and they're gonna get in touch with him because he's like he's in like the Department of Justice or something, and then she's gonna get the mom to get put into a sanitarium so she's at least under protection, which oftentimes is like, that's a worse situation than she could ever possibly. When you say the word sanitarium, I'm always like, ugh.
That line remind me of Scarface when they're trying to sneak into America, and I forget what he actually said. Scarface's friend or whatever. He's like, "I told you,
Regular face. His name's Regular Face. Or Smooth Face.
So it's something about sanitarium or something. You're supposed to say. Do you guys remember Scarface? What do you remember what the guy said?
I haven't seen Scarface in 20 years, man.
Okay, say that for next episode.
We'll save that for when we do the Scarface month next week, where we watch Scarface 4 times every day for the whole month.
I'm gonna be sick that month.
We could do the Batman animated series episode with Scarface. We could do the Al
We're not
Pacino
gonna
Scarface.
do that,
we
though.
could do.
All right. We get it. There's a lot of Scarfaces.
Scarface.
What part of the movie are we at?
So the doctor.
She hacks into several routers to check the business card she snags. Oh, this is where she's like bouncing around trying to figure out what that business card that she has was. Dennis Miller goes to get his drugs refilled because he loves antihistamines for some reason. I guess over
Maybe
the counter.
he has allergies, man.
No, but
Jesus.
he's like.
Yeah, he
the
likes
old
putting them in
drugs
his drink.
We used to do was vodka and onions and antihistamines, which they're probably like something that you can't get anymore that gets you fucked up if you drink with them.
Hey, if you want to get drunk,
No,
for treat,
I mean most antihistamines. If you drink while you're on them, you'll get a little
like
extra
Benadryl,
fucked up.
right? Like Benadryl.
yeah, but how expensive are they? Are they more expensive than having a lot of drinks, or less expensive?
No, he's mixing the alcohol
them.
and the drugs.
But also-
That's why he's
No, I
getting-
know, but that's what I'm saying.
They were
if the
prescribed,
drugs
so
and
they were
alcohol
way-
get nice and drunk. Is it cheaper to do drugs and alcohol, or is it more expensive to get?
I don't think
matter.
that he's worried about money,
Stop,
Kalen.
stop.
I think that
I'll
it
tell
gives
you.
him a particular type of feeling that he likes.
Yeah.
He's
So-
a fucking therapist. He's very rich, and so is she. They're all rich in this movie. They're not like,
Over
we
the-
gotta get fucked up quick and cheap.
Over the counter, those antihistamines probably have other shit in them, like amphetamine, that get you like
Wiry.
drugged, fucked up. Not just taking some Benadryl and drinking a bottle of wine, because that'll just knock you the fuck out. But that is the thing. That's like basically what lean is, right? That's mixing
Listen, every
cough
prescription I have extremely, extremely bad allergies, and I get prescription antihistamines every year. And every single one that I've ever got has been like, absolutely do not drink alcohol while you're taking these.
Oh, yeah.
And exactly. Thanks, Scoob. Wait, who's that? Oh, it's Neo. Neo, thank you.
It's Neil.
Neil.
So she goes to check on her chat room buddies by doing a who is, which is a thing you could do. I remember doing it in IRC to like get like some information, like their IP address and like where they're from potentially. That's kind of a real thing. I don't know if you can just like who is anybody on the internet. I don't know if you could ever do that. But she gets information from a bunch of her friends. She figures out that Cyber Bob looked like the most realistic human being that could assist with this.
No. She was the one that was in her area. Everyone else
Yeah.
was.
right.
Oh yeah, right. The other one of the
Location.
dudes is
That's
in
what it was.
India.
He was close enough to meet.
And he was a man. The other one was like a 12-year-old in India, or something like that.
Yeah. This is sort of the so this is the thing I bring up on the show sometimes, and this, Raul, what you were saying about like movies, this movie does this. This is the part of the movie where people are just sort of going around doing things, and there's a giant swath of movie here that we can kind of skip over because it's just like she's going to look for this person and Devlin's driving around and blah 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 blah. So you're right.
Yeah.
We can
I do
kinda
need
just-
to add to it.
Yeah.
Carnival mascot was a dick.
Well, we're
Yeah,
gonna.
he was there.
We're not there yet. I have
Okay.
so many notes about this guy.
Yeah. So Alan shows up at that moment. He says, you know, we're not gonna go meet. We're gonna go to the Santa Monica Pier. We see Devlin at Bob Fox's house. The person she was
Hello,
looking-
is this Bob? Bob Fox? Have you heard the good word? Like, why did he let him up there?
Right?
especially when he like looks
got
right
your
into the
pizza.
camera and is so menacing.
Especially when he just had a conversation with Sandra Bullock on the computer about how there's dangerous people
yes, there's
potentially
dangerous
on it.
Trying to mess
What
with us.
the fuck, Bob? Turns out
Um,
Bob was an idiot.
The person.
Like a dumb like a fox, as they
Sorry, I
say.
have a sentence here that says the person she was looking at was the guy from the start of the movie who has. She sees the guy who died of AIDS on the TV, and she realizes that was
the
this whole shit is clandestine.
Secretary of Defense or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like he killed himself because he was embroiled in this somehow.
But it was
Alan-
misdiagnosed or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it turns out he didn't. He got an autopsy and didn't.
There
have
is like a
AIDS at
point
all.
in like there was a fraction of a moment in that where I'm like, was he potentially having intercourse with men as like many weird
Why
Oh,
else would-
absolutely. No,
right?
absolutely he was, because that's how they got him.
Why
They
else
knew
would
he
he
was
kill
doing that, so if they tricked him and said he had AIDS, he would
Yeah.
take himself out of the picture.
Right.
Probably.
I thought about both versions. I thought about that version where he was doing it is like, oh shit, and or whatever. And then I thought about a different version is like, oh shit, I hate this shit. And then if they say I have this shit, that means I've been doing that shit.
All right. This shit, you need to calm down. It's a very serious disease.
I apologize. That was the vodka.
Also, did you know that 4 people in recent, like the last couple of months, have been completely cured of AIDS?
That's amazing.
Really?
Yeah. They figured it has to do with bone marrow, and what it was is that all 4 people had cancer as well as AIDS, and they did a specific type of transplant with bone marrow. And when they did the bone marrow transplant, it didn't get rid of the cancer, but it completely got rid of all of the AIDS in the body.
That's awesome.
So it's stored in your bones?
It's not stored in your bones. No, it's a lot more complicated than that, Galen. You can look it up on your own time.
Bone marrow is the stuff inside your bones.
But bone marrow is sort of a secret ingredient in terms of like how do we eliminate this from the body, and how do you get the blood to sort of stop
very interesting
being toxic.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's awesome that happened. Did they figure that out?
Yeah, it is. Why don't we give a round of applause to all the doctors out there who figured it out? AIDS is bad.
You're the button.
Oh,
you farted. Okay, thank you.
Don't worry, I got it.
All right. Anyway,
I want to be
it's close to a cure, which is really cool because it's been a pandemic since the 80s.
It has.
A thing that people fear every time they kiss.
Now they just have to worry about monkeypox.
I mean, it is something that I worry about.
Kissing?
Listen, my community is a little bit more involved in it than yours, Caleb. It's scary, man. Kissing leads to other things. Is all I'll say.
Yeah.
One minute you're touching tongues, and the next minute you're touching penises.
You're fucking butts.
You're fucking butts and touching wieners and putting your wiener inside another man's wiener. That's how they do it, right?
Yeah. So at this part, she's
call that docket.
So at this part, yeah. How do we know
she's at a carnival? And if you're watching The Fugitive at the exact same time, he's probably doing something crazy exciting, like jumping out of a train that's exploding, or trying to foil his way out of a hospital. He's doing something really clever and cool. This movie, no.
She's walking around. Jason refused to clap for the cure for AIDS, but he clapped for The Fugitive.
Sorry, it's all in the name of comedy. I'm sorry. AIDS is a very real, serious issue that, especially around this time, is very prevalent. It's still prevalent these days. The cures have existed in the past. They were mostly for like the rich and famous, and it's really exciting that nowadays.
They weren't cures before. They were just like suppressants.
They suppressed it, right?
Yeah.
Agreed. The Cure is a great band.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's stop. I mean, it is part of the movie, but let's stop talking about it because it is depressing and not funny at all.
Okay, so the next scene is Alan dies.
Of AIDS.
His drugs got hacked.
His drugs got hacked. They're in like a little scene, and I guess it's penicillin, which he's allergic to, which causes him to like crash his car.
Anaphylactic shock or something?
Yeah, they go to the hospital.
He went into basically like I ate a peanut mode. Where's my EpiPen?
So and she's like, bring my pills. And she's like, what pills, fucking weirdo?
Which ones? There's a Ziploc bag full of them in here.
The only ones I ever talked about, ever.
Yeah.
So now we get the whole sequence where they're at Santa Monica Pier, which is basically a cat and mouse thing where Devlin corners her there. She gets in a carousel and then gets away, but in a very like Home Alone kind of a way. Like literally he's got her by the scruff.
Jason, when do you call the Home Alone of this movie?
Okay, so I have a segment I do on the show.
Her name is being said as Ruth Marks.
I think when she lands back. I think when she lands back in
the States.
In the
when
States.
Her car's gone.
When her car's gone. I think that's the Home Alone. So Raul, the Home Alone of it all, in my opinion, of a movie is much like in the movie Home Alone, when he realizes the guys are coming to rob his house, and he puts the blueprint out on the table and starts planning that, and then from then on is the Home Alone of the movie. It's the most exciting. We've had debates about when it is in movies, we've had debates about what it is. We've kind of boiled it down to being, a lot of the times it's just the third act of a movie, but sometimes it happens like in a Freddy movie, and you know, it happens
in almost every movie. There are movies where it doesn't happen, and those are called good movies. But
whoa. Wait, rewind. You're just trying to tell me there's movies that don't have a Home Alone of it all?
There are many, many, many movies that don't have a
Give me one. Give me one.
Lincoln.
What the hell is that?
The movie about Lincoln starring Daniel Day-Lewis, I imagine.
Is that the one with vampires?
The Home Alone of it all is when he gets shot in the head.
That's Abraham Lincoln, vampire hunter.
So
that's
the one
you're thinking about.
So the Home Alone of it all is the moment when they're like, and here we go.
And this is when the plot starts.
Gotcha.
This is when it's crazy thing.
This is when Kevin McAllister starts making traps in his house. But in the version of this movie, it's like, whoa, sorry, I took a big stinky shit in there. This house, you want to buy it? That's what I think.
Right. Then it's on.
And
then
the movie
doesn't
kicks
stop shrugging.
He steals his cell phone and runs out of there.
A couple things I wanted to talk about in the Santa Monica scene is I've never been to a carnival where everybody was so pushy, including the actual staff. The mascot is literally like getting in people's faces and pushing them around and stuff, which actually ends up...
Oh, God, yeah. I have a ton of notes about this rabbit. Yeah. He's no great.
Well,
let's talk about the mascot. Let's take this moment to talk about the mascot.
Well, I was just going to say that he is the reason she gets away if he hadn't been there being so pushy. But everybody's pushy here. It's crazy. It's crazy how pushy everybody is in this place.
They're American.
Yeah, but like nobody else in the rest of the... Like they went to at the end of the movie, they go to that place where all the computer people are, the convention, and nobody's being pushy.
Oh, the convention.
Computer Con 1994.
Yeah. Cop Con. Yeah.
Font Con. All the little booths have different fonts.
You know what?
That are default fonts.
I have been to a font conference and it is boring.
Do you like Times New? We got a new font. It's called Chief Serif.
There are people who love fonts so much.
Let's not discredit fonts. You know how.
I'm not discrediting fonts. I'm discrediting the people who are like crafting them and being like a weird, like, I've figured out a new way to
discredit that either. Font gives your presentation, whatever it is you're writing on or presenting, oomph. You wanna same with your sound design, right? Same with your light, your lighting. Font gives
I need you to compare it to several more things, please.
Okay, let's see.
No, I was joking.
We're already over time, guys. Come on. Steve, hit us with your notes about this. I said everything I wanted to.
This rabbit is a real perv, is my main note. When he says, hey, you want a picture? Come on, take a picture with me. And then he starts like grabbing people, and then he says, hey lady, you want to dance? And then he grabs her and he says, come on, I'm a great dancer. And
watch me break dance or something.
So
I like how your interpretation of him is just Chucky also.
He basically is like Chucky. And then he calls her like he says she's got a stick up her butt or something when she walks away. He's like, whatever, you fucking bitch. Yeah, and
that's definitely Chucky.
He goes back to harassing other people. I didn't actually have as many notes as I thought. He's just a big purple piece of shit.
I don't know. We all kind of built this scene up at the beginning of the show, but I feel like really the point I wanted to hit home is how fucking weird everybody's acting in this place.
Just the carnival or the whole movie?
No, just in this carnival, like how everybody's just
bumping into everybody,
running into each other, like
everybody's like drunk, and I think it's. So, I've said this before. There are moments in movies where the direction of everything happening around is not meant to be realistic. It's meant for us to be experiencing what the character is experiencing. So for her walking through this, it's supposed to be super hectic. People are supposed to be cutting her off and bumping into her. Not because that's what's happening in reality. That's just how it feels to her because everything is insane. It's like if you have a movie where a teenager did something wrong and they're walking through the hallways the next day and everybody in the hall is looking at them. In reality, that's not what will be happening, but you would feel like everybody's looking at you. So the creative direction is that make everybody literally looking at you to have this sort of heightened sense of reality. Okay. And That's kind of how I chalk it up to logically allowing these things to happen without getting too bent about it. Because everybody is acting wild at this carnival, but it's because she's like acting like a scared animal. Where when she bumps into things, she's like
a scared animal. The music is like psychotic, and it's nighttime on the Santa Monica Pier, and the mascot kind of sets the energy for it all, because the first thing she encounters when she gets there is the mascot being weird. Then she gets bumped a couple times, and Devlin shows up.
I thought the mascot might have been like them. I thought it might have been them.
That's something I thought about as well for a moment, where I was like,
imagine you just like,
bonsoir,
mon ami.
Mon ami. So then she gets out of there. She goes back to the hospital. She walks in on Alan literally flatlining, because we got a little cutaway to a man and going in, and I knew it was a man because there's all a giant arm with tattoos on it that you clearly comes in a frame for just enough time to realize it's a henchman, and then he ties.
I didn't even notice that. The nurse.
It was a nurse. It was a dude nurse, because it was a man's fucking giant.
You don't need to say dude. Nurse can be anyone.
Popeye muscles.
It's true. A nurse can be anyone.
Nurse? It was a bad nurse.
It was a bad nurse. They put a insulin bag. I don't think it was maybe you're right though. Maybe because there was a lot.
I thought it was someone following the thing.
Yeah, they scanned a thing. Maybe
I mean, that's
I feel like the movie does. The movie itself doesn't even know, guys.
Yeah. Okay.
The movie doesn't.
So anyway, he dies. They were trying to treat him for diabetes, which he didn't have, so they overdosed him on insulin.
Which he's allergic to.
Penicillin is what he's allergic to.
He's allergic to penicillin.
Oh.
If you get too much insulin pumped into your body, you will die.
When you're not diabetic. They thought they changed it to say that he was diabetic, so they gave him too much insulin.
They hacked his file.
It's basically like if you were to take an insulin pump as a person who doesn't need it, you're gonna overdose on sugar in your blood. Basically.
Is that like that scene from Pulp Fiction?
Exactly. Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. So she's like, he wasn't diabetic, and they're like, well, I'm just doing what the computer tells me to. There's a lot of scenes in this movie.
John Travolta played that role.
Exactly.
I'm just doing what the computer tells me
to. There's a lot of scenes in this movie where the people are like, I don't know, man. The computer said to do the thing. I don't know what the computer said.
That's the thing that scares me.
Yeah.
This movie actually scares me.
This movie probably scared a generation of Gen Xers into thinking that the net was going to fucking kill them in their sleep.
Like, I'm never vaccinating my kids after this.
Exactly. I'm never letting my kids go in the internet.
I'm never letting those computer chips in my body.
I do have one note about this part when she comes back, when Dennis Leary, after he dies.
Dennis Miller.
They're very aggressive ripping her out of that room, and it's like just two little tiny nurses. And I'm like, all right, fine, I get it.
Get her out of here!
The same nurse that she talked to earlier, who said she was going to be fine, he was going to be fine. It's been like an hour, 45 minutes. She remembers the conversation they had. And she's like, no. Don't you dare try and gaslight me. He's diabetic. It's like, we just talked about this like 45 minutes ago. No, we didn't. I've never seen your face before in my life.
Also, the computer told me.
I might have said that, but I don't remember anything else about it.
Computer told me I don't know you. Yeah. So I don't. I don't anymore.
Security! Yeah, it's like, good Lord.
So she steals a car and just starts driving.
I know that nurses have to deal with a lot, and then they probably have a lot of things happening every millisecond of every day, and it would probably be hard to remember something that happened 45 minutes ago. Mm-hmm. But it's very late at night, and it doesn't seem like there's a lot going on in that hospital. So I'm like, would you forget? I don't know.
No, she's like, she
sitting there in front of the computer.
Like, I know what I said, but I don't know the computer.
Computer.
I'm confused about why she got in a car and just started driving. Was she just stressed out, or was she heading somewhere?
Well, her friend just died, probably her best friend in the whole world.
Only
her only friend, really.
Yeah.
Yep. And her other online friends have been killed. Her friends on the phone, and like everyone's been killed around her. But also that the fact that they got to him in the hospital means that they're probably close by, so she's probably frightened that they're watching. You know, like she's got to get out of there.
So she gets in a car and goes. I think, does she get a call here? I think, but at the long and short of it is the cops catch up to her.
The FBI or whatever, the cops get her.
Yeah,
They chase her through a little shallow river.
Zone.
The mud zone.
The mud zone. She just because everything's a video game. And then we cut to her just in prison attire, trying to explain this once again. Explain all this stuff to her attorney. Her attorney's like, I don't know. The computer just tells me.
Anybody know who her attorney is?
I don't, but she looked familiar.
Of course, she looks familiar.
She's
one of my favorite characters from the television show Lost. She plays Rose.
Is that Rose?
It's Rose.
Rose,
man.
like 20 years before.
Remember Rose and Bernard, the two best characters that ever existed in Lost, and had like the best lives. They like just lived in the forest together with a dog.
Oh,
yeah. Her.
Yeah.
I had to Google it.
Yeah, her. Yeah.
No, I said because Kalen switched sides.
Turns out my phone's gonna die soon.
Oh,
you should probably charge it before the show.
Well,
I had it at full power before the show.
We're almost done here. She tries to explain it's all a computer. It sounds crazy as fuck. She tries to call her mom with her one phone call. Her mom has Alzheimer's. I thought here we were getting a little bit of like, oh, I know who you are, but I can't tell them who you are because, I'm Alzheimer's again.
Is this the girl that brings me chocolate pretzel sticks?
Chocolate?
Is she bringing more yet?
I told her to bring more of that anything.
Yeah.
So this is my favorite.
The nurses keep eating mine.
This is my favorite. This woman that shows up keeps eating all mine. She brings them and then eats them right in front of me. Luckily, Ben Phillips shows up. This is my favorite sequence in the whole movie.
Oh, you're gonna talk about exactly what I was gonna talk about.
Well, I think we all feel the same way about this guy's performance.
Can I mention one thing before you say?
Yeah.
Yes.
So she escapes in his car, his BMW, before she gets captured. And I think the smartest thing in this movie that's kind of dumb is that she parks the BMW in a BMW car parking lot, like a lot for selling BMWs, and parks it perfectly
showroom or whatever.
Yeah, she parks it in like the show lot, and sleeps there overnight. And I'm like, this is like maybe a little bit too clever for this movie that is full of a lot of not so clever shit.
Yeah.
It was so clever. I think it went over people's heads. Yeah. But I think it's perfect.
Well, it's like she's parked next to 10 other cars that look exactly like that car, and nobody would notice that she's in there until the sun fully comes up, right?
Yeah, that's her secret power I was talking
it's
about.
One of that moment I looked up to see if this movie was based on a novel. I was like, is this based on a novel, or is this just a straight up screenplay?
That writing's too good.
This is too good for Hollywood. Hollywood doesn't come up with this kind of clever shit.
And what's the answer? It is.
I don't think it's based on a novel.
Because I had the same thought, because I was like, well, yeah, was this thing based on a book? People loved writing.
I thought that was clever.
People loved writing books in the 90s and then making them into
books about techno crime. No, it's not. I don't think it's based on a book.
Yeah, it's just that they got lucky. I remember being a huge movie, honestly.
It's probably like a lighting guy that was like, what if she parks in like a BMW parking lot? And then they're like, make this man a writer on our next three films.
Yeah, and also put him into that bunny costume.
Yeah. Every
character you want to take a picture with me?
Every character we impersonate always sounds like John Travolta in fucking Saturday Night Fever. So it's part of the show. It's part of the DNA of the show.
All right.
So Ben Phillips shows up, bails her out, and at first you think, oh, okay, this is that guy. And before he has his slip up, this actor is doing that good bad acting that I love.
Good bad acting.
Good
bad acting.
I said like out loud at my work desk, like, that guy's a bad guy. Because he was doing that, like, well, we gotta go down to that department and we gotta find out who's doing this. And I have a pretty good idea.
My name's Baraka Jericho, and I'm here to get you. I'm a friend of your psychiatrist, Mr. Champion, Dr. Champion.
You mean to tell me all this happened because of some disc?
Right?
So where is the disc? You copied the disc before it got dried out in the sun?
I don't care personally. I just want to know for future reference the song. I don't care.
That's all.
Is it like under a floorboard in your house? Did you send a copy to your grandma?
Yeah.
Or what?
But then it leads to like my favorite fucking thing in the entire world,
your favorite trope.
What?
No, not trope. It's just the like this combination of editing and ADR magic where she like figures it out, obviously, and then like decides to crash the car. But in the midst of that, there's a close-up shot of her unbuckling him. But I guess producers or something maybe came back and they're like, "That's not fast. That's not clear enough for audiences."
Yeah, you got to.
And then and then they ADR him saying,
my
seatbelt, and then crashes into the thing.
Holy
Incredible.
shit! I didn't catch that.
It's
No,
funny.
He says it very loud and clear. My seatbelt.
I
like
actually
instantly,
didn't catch
like
that. I actually didn't catch that.
It's so funny because it's my seatbelt and then yell like the yell that didn't have anything before it, just like seatbelt.
And then it cuts to the car. The car crashes, and he's like, "Oh, like hits his head on the wheel.
Yeah. Oh my god, it's just so. I love how awful it is. It's like, why the fuck would he say that?
But it's also following one of the tropes that is like, you know, the most overused. But it's like the equivalent of like the equivalent of like, oh, he's been dead for over 10 years. But it's like I never told you about the bacon that I left in the backyard. How'd you know the bacon was in the backyard if I didn't tell you about it?
Oh yeah, that trope. There's also I wrote down here
the slight slip up.
We're not so different, you and I, is used in this movie.
Yep.
Every
single movie this month has had that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, totally. I can imagine Hackers. I know exactly where that is. Like
Hackers has it, Sneakers has it, and Ghost in the Shell also has it.
What that is saying is
all hackers are the same.
Well, no. Yeah, what that is saying is hackers
aren't so different, you and I.
No. They're
two sides of the same.
The good hackers.
They're two sides of the same coin.
Right? Exactly. Thank you, Jason. It's so okay. Everything has a duality, right? So, fire. I've said this before, I think.
Fire, has water? Yeah, I heard you say that before. Fire and water.
Heat your home. It can burn it down. It can do some good. It can do some bad. Hackers, with everything in life, and in the context of this movie, hackers can do good or can do bad. And God damn it, shit.
Will he get to a point, or will that be the last thing he said?
That's it.
Hackers, everyone. Hackers.
It sounds so much like
Kalen
Povich. Like
we're not so different.
Like, it's where you're putting it.
Yeah,
it's where you're putting it.
It's so annoying though. It's like it's a line that like when you're writing a script and if you ever feel your fingers starting to write, you're not so different than me, or like any variant of
cut your index finger off immediately as soon as you start writing that line.
Just like you should type the line into an AI, say like, how many ways can I say this? And then it'll give you a huge list of it. You should put it into your script writing program and make it so that you can never actually write those lines. It won't allow you. The computer will be like, error.
No.
I would say
there's too much now.
I would say we get after this little bit what I would consider the climax of the movie, where
the hitman moment where she goes in the office.
No. Cool. She's running from a car that is chasing her. She's far enough away that she runs onto one of those bridges that's opening, and she does an action jump, but the jump is like 3 feet. It's the most like non-climax jump, but the climax, of course, is when the car like almost goes over.
Can't make it. Yeah.
And
I will say, I gotta say, like that the moment on the boat where she escapes from Devlin is the most exciting moment in the entire movie, and it's never topped because you feel scared for her because you're like, oh my god, she knocked this guy out. She has seconds before he gets up, and you never again capture that sort of urgency in the entirety of the movie.
The tension is never that high ever again.
Right.
If your character can 2 times in the movie wash their hair calmly, then you're maybe making
She's not that scared.
She takes multiple showers in this movie, and that's like the anti-thriller.
And then you see the fake Angela Becker, and she looks like she's not washed her hair in weeks.
She looks like a military person. In
That's
fact.
obviously the one you got to shoot.
Well, I mean, but it also just goes to show you that they can make somebody look like a greasy hacker lady who's like obsessed with the computer, because the other Angela, the fake Angela, looks more like what you would expect a person who's like being hired to uphold.
She
this
looks like
position.
she looks like a hired. She definitely looks like a hired hand.
Hired hacker. That's what she is. She's a hired goon.
But she doesn't. She like never really. I got the impression that that fake Angela wasn't a hacker. She was like just like a gun person. That's the impression.
That's what I thought too, until the end where she starts babbling a bunch of.
Okay.
I get what this means.
Yeah,
and
mind you, that was ADR, so that could have been just like, you know what I mean.
They added it later because old people were confused.
Yeah, exactly.
But she does like, she has these sort of antisocial moments as well, where like, oh, you got to go to the bathroom too, huh? And she's like, doesn't even make eye contact, like, shit. And then when they're in the convention, and she's like, all these people are making me nervous.
Yeah,
I took that as like a
Social
sort of
anxiety?
Like, yeah, like I don't like being around this many people.
That's really nice of you.
I know,
And not that
because
like,
took
oh,
it
we're
as,
dealing
like-
with a lot of crazy shit right now. That's like,
I took it as
espionage.
like I fucking don't like these nerds. I don't
Oh.
like these gross nerds.
I took it
That's
as
how I
like
took
there's
it.
too many people in this room and I don't know where all the exits are and I need to know.
That's funny.
Well, speaking of, we're just gonna kind of go through. I'm gonna run through
Yeah,
the
do
next
it.
sequence.
Do it. Blow through it.
It's basically just a matter of she goes back to where she originally worked.
She goes to Comic-Con.
Nope. She goes to Cathedral where she used to work.
She goes to No, she doesn't go to Cathedral. She goes to a computer.
No, Kaylin.
Afterwards.
I'm sorry.
Afterwards.
Let me-
Kaylin, you're skipping a whole chunk of the movie.
Let me talk about the part of the movie that I know where I'm at. She goes back to her work. She figures out that where fake Angela is working based on like tries to log into a computer but can't
She
get in.
calls her.
But she can see the like floor layout. She calls her, like you said, and she pokes her head out and sees fake Angela.
Real
also
Matrix
poke her
moment.
head out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then she sits down, and then she is able to hack into another part that she's like sets off an alarm on another floor, so everybody evacuates. And then we get like a tense hacker moment where she's like downloading a thing onto a disk and .comming the matrices, and then she downloads it to the floppy drive, and then she's got the floppy and the virus, and she runs across the street to the convention. Kaylin, this is where we're at now. After they come back into the building, and it was a very tense moment. Like, it was, maybe that's the climax. Maybe them coming back to their desks was more of the climax.
I think that moment was good. The entire office moment was pretty good. It was interestingly shot. All of the people that worked there looked more like hackers than anybody else that we've seen so far. And it had some fun computer moments where it's like, I can use this to set off the alarm, like you said. And I like the frustration of the other Angela, like being like, no, but if she's actually, she could have hid. She could have been like, all right, I just need to go back and grab something real quick. Go on without me. But like that one dude that I've seen in a million movies, the guy's like, come on, Angela, we gotta get out of here. What are you doing here?
So how's your family also? So that she runs across the street.
I'm the fire safety officer for this floor, so you need to listen to me.
She runs across the street to the convention hall, which is pretty conveniently placed. She goes to the cathedral booth there, where she uploads all the information she got on the gate,
The disc.
what's the shit?
Basically,
Gatekeeper, Praetorium, all of the shit, all the information about the guy who is the head of Gatekeeper being the guy who's making this backdoor to this software that's going to allow this Praetorium group of hackers be able to control everything. And essentially all the little things throughout the movie that have been happening in the background, like the stock market getting hacked and the people hacking the lights to like say whatever, Denver sucks or whatever it was, basically just reveal all that. But then Devlin shows up with fake Angela and basically is like, he's like smacking her around and like pushing her, and fucking nobody's like, that's weird, why is this guy abusing this woman right in front of us? It was the 90s, a different time.
They're looking at the spectacle at the convention.
Yeah, exactly.
All the computers.
So
They're like, wow, look at I can't believe the pixel count on this thing. You see this baby?
That's what it would be like if it was
16 pixels.
That's what it would be like if it was the Hackers movie, because that's the Hackers movie had that energy. But in this sequence, we basically, so all the way at the back of the beginning of the movie, the software that the virus had a flaw in it that if you pressed escape on the game, fucking the virus activated, right?
So yeah, a flaw. That's how it works.
They say it over and over again, like be careful about pressing the escape button. Don't press the escape button; it'll fuck you up.
So we get a really interesting like ticking clock moment where she uploads all the information, and the villain does his final villain speech, and it's like, well, nothing matters. Like, you can't undo the fact. In fact, I can go in and I can just hack it back to the way it was. And she and keeps showing.
All I have to do is press the escape button.
She's put the virus in,
and we're all like,
he doesn't know.
Then the screen just starts doing this melty thing, and she's like, haha, I hacked it with the virus. And then that could have been the end of the movie. But instead what happens is she runs, and he follows her into like a stairwell, kind of a scaffolding area. And it's the same thing that happens in every fucking thriller, where it's dark, and they're whispering, and they're sneaking around, and one person's got a gun. And
he's doing a speech. He's doing like I will catch you because you're the prey and I'm the predator and it'll always be this way.
And fake Angela just
One thing I don't think I've ever seen in any previous predator prey movie. No, sorry, I take that back. That's wrong. In the hacker movies that we've done, where the fake hacker gets killed. I don't think I've ever seen that.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
That was also
she's
so
such
stupid.
a good lookalike.
Didn't make any fucking sense.
I think it's meant to be like she's such a good lookalike, even though they look nothing alike. Such a good lookalike that his hubris got is the best.
Why was she running around back there? And he was saying,
"Why
don't
was she
move."
running?" Yeah. Anyway, she gets killed. She gets killed. Then they fight. They run out into a scaffold. And he's coming down like, I got you finally. You're finally, you're trapped. And she says some action line. I can't remember what it was, but she bashes him, and
she doesn't say anything. She says nothing.
You keep saying she says something.
Yeah. Okay.
She says, "Access denied."
Exactly.
Hits him in the head with a
even worse. She says nothing and whacks him over the head with a fire extinguisher, which caused him to fall backwards over the railing onto a forklift, and he fucking, I guess, is dead. So she probably didn't need to murder him, but we don't know if she could have gone left or right.
He kind of fucked with her real hard and killed a lot of her friends.
At the end of the movie, he's dead.
True.
I was disappointed he didn't fall into something sharp.
Spikes, right? That's what I was saying.
I thought it was like a crane thing. Yeah, I know.
There are forklifts that store their forks upward. He could have landed on those.
I wanted to anything. Maybe even like glass that just starts shattering. Any fucking thing.
It looked like he was going to fall on something jagged or horrible, but then he just landed perfectly on top of the forklift.
Don't give me a fake dummy-looking person like a...
The distance that he fell and what he landed on, he could
no way he's
have survived. He could have survived that, and it probably would have survived. Like, oh, bloody hell!
My back is severely broken.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm badly hurt. Could somebody please help me?
If you could send some EHMS. Wait, what's the thing called?
It's
emergency
from Austin Powers.
Help.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
The final scene though is just her like planting flowers with her still equally.
Whoa! Rewind a little bit. Wait! I gotta say this. This has a very nice transition, very similar to Sneakers, where they do the transition to the oldies to the modern. This does a transition from like a pixelated what's
virus
called corrupted.
It's the virus is corrupting the image, and it turns into this mosaic of these tiles, and it turns into
I like that. I like that transition a lot.
Yeah, it was very nice looking.
Yeah.
And that is the movie The Net. So we're gonna rapid fire into our final thoughts here. Raul, since you started us off in the beginning, why don't you give us your final thoughts on the film The Net, starring Sandy Bullock?
Rapid fire thoughts are okay. It is a movie that other movies have done better, and it's like any identity theft movie, but it's just the first quarter of it stretched out the whole way through. Not enough thrills for me personally. And I would
Slightly
have
enough
liked
chills.
that. It's like, yeah, but wait, do I rate it yet or no? Is that after?
No,
No, you're doing your whole thing.
Your
You're doing
whole
your
thing.
whole thing.
Oh,
Your-
and
your
the rating.
and your what
Okay.
went well even better.
What went well?
Oh, what
even
went
better.
well, right? Okay, what went well? There are like those little moments that you just pointed out. That's like, oh, that's kind of clever. Like the sleeping in the lot or whatever, and the guy not giving her coat because there's a gun in there and you don't know that yet. There's little things like that, but that's so not enough for me. I want like, again, like it's just like go to jail, try to get out, go anywhere, go be homeless for a while and watch you struggle and like find yourself out of that. But like she's kind of fine throughout the whole thing. She's kind of fine overall.
She trades a cell phone to a homeless man just to like
yeah, anything. She's okay. She's fine. The whole movie, she's fine. Hey, so that's that for me. But my rating out of 10, I'd give it 5.9 or 5.9, I'd say, out of 10, if
Okay.
not 6.
Okay.
It's just so like there. Or for Sandy B's, I give it a Sandy minus C.
Oh, damn, that's a good one.
That is good. All right, thank you. Kaylin, why don't you hit us next?
This one felt the most realistic out of the 4 movies we've done this month. Hackers was kind of childish. Sneakers was kind of analog. And then Ghost in the Shell was futuristic. This movie raised some real concerns, and I felt executed just fine. Sandy B is that girl next door who I could believe as someone who keeps to themselves, a recluse. For my what went well, identity theft. This shit is doable, kind of, sort of, a little bit, probably, most likely. It is kind of scary. My even better, I was going to say anchovy pizza, but I've actually never had an anchovy pizza before. So, you know what? I really don't know. Maybe anchovy pizza is good. It's a buy, and I give it the perfect night in with your choice of drink. I finished my vodka with popsicles.
It was vodka with vodka. Let's
you
be
finished it?
And you're
Surprising.
Oh.
What's the MP?
Back to you, Jason.
What's the MPAA rating? Did you get it?
Oh, I did. My apologies. I missed it. My apologies. MPAA 33,595.
That's a little thing that Kaylin's taken up. We're gonna watch movie number 1 someday.
Not this January, but maybe next January.
Maybe in
The
a
Also,
cabinet of Dr.
Jason, if I
Caligari.
Yeah.
may, before we finish this episode, I have a special little thing to say to the viewers, if
Okay.
that's okay.
That's of course. Steve.
This movie is fine. It's not terrible. It's not great, but
That's-
it's fine. While I'm watching it, I like it. But afterwards, I know that tomorrow I'll be like, that one moment was great. And then 2 days from now, I'll be like, what moment? What was I talking about again? I think the performances are all good, except for the obvious ADR that we pointed out a few times. There's tons of it, super guilty, but that also reeks of studio notes and like people don't really understand why the guy got knocked out and she didn't get knocked out. Oh, we'll do an insert shot of her taking a seatbelt off, and then we'll make him say, "Oh, my seatbelt got taken off. I can't believe you undid my seatbelt. Why would you do that?" Also, Ray Romano was originally cast to play that character.
Was
It can't
it?
rain all the time.
No, he wasn't. Caleb.
That was Ray
Oh.
Romano. I stole that from Dudesy Podcast. Sorry.
There were a couple things that I wanted to mention, but Jason had to do his sprint mode. There's another one that's also like,
Yes,
okay,
I think I know what you're
thanks
talking
for
about.
holding my hand, where she's trying to get out of the building and she sees a pile of firefighter clothing, and you're like, oh, she's gonna put the firefighter clothing on and get out of the building, and she's gonna sneak out so that no one sees her. And then it cuts to fake Angela, and she comes in and she's like, "Did you see a 5'7" brunette come through here?" And they're like, "No, only firefighters have come through here, ma'am. No one but firefighters have come through here." And we're like, "Yeah, okay, we get it. We fuck." And then then they show the pile of firefighter clothing again later.
Yeah. Sorry, I skipped over that.
That's so funny. That's so funny you mentioned that one, because the one I was going to talk about was when she puts the virus into the computer or whatever it is.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, there's an ADR from the fake, version conning her.
Mozart's Ghost?
Yeah. And she's like, it's all ADR because you never see her mouth move, but she's like, she put the virus in the thing when you hit escape. It's taking over the thing. It's virus. It's taking over the thing now.
It's doing it right now.
It's doing everything we're doing. It's like she's just sort of saying, like the part in the beginning of the movie.
Don't you remember at the beginning of the film that we're in right now?
Yeah.
So we both found something differently,
yes,
but equally annoying. Yeah. Okay.
I have a third thing that was annoying to me, where during that end sequence where she's trying to do the final hack and put the drive is upside down, so she keeps putting it in wrong and having this, and that just adds to that dumb suspense.
No hackers can do that.
It doesn't need. You don't need to add suspense to suspense. I'm already like, oh my god, is she going to hack the planet or not? But she's like up trying to put the disc in, and like, oh, well, fuck. It's like when you have a USB and you try to put it in.
I find that to be a little bit more believable because she's nervous and shit than the movie just blatantly yelling at you like, she dressed as a firefighter. You're like, yeah, we know, we saw her in the firefighter clothes, we don't need you to tell us 10 times. And then they the virus is doing the thing that it said it was going to do at the beginning of the movie. It's like so what I will say, I didn't hate the movie. I thought it, again, I think it's just a fine movie. I don't think that it makes any sense now to watch it and be like, oh my god, can you imagine what the internet could do? Because now it's like, yeah, the internet is how we do everything now. If the internet didn't exist, we would all be dead. But what went well in this movie for me was two scenes in particular. Was the one that I've mentioned several times, which is the boat. The tension in that sequence is super good because you already know he's bad. You don't know exactly what he's going to do. Is he going to kill her? I don't know. Then they bone and you're like, he's horny. Is he going to kill her? Is he now in love with her? What's happening here? I think it was a well done scene, and I wish that there were more scenes like that, or if they could at least have taken sort of the formula of that and stretched it longer, maybe. Like he didn't need to be evil that quickly. Imagine he was a heel turn halfway through the movie instead of 20 minutes into the movie, kind of thing,
Yeah.
And then the sequence in the office I thought was well done, even though I think when she first goes in there and she's trying to sneak around to get to a computer, she's like the most obvious infiltrator, where she's like literally doing like that kind of stuff. And you're like, okay, just calm down, Sandra. They know you're not supposed to be there. Also, I think it's funny that they're wearing almost the exact same sweater, but a different color. Like they're wearing like a blue and a green sweater that look exactly the same. I don't know if you guys noticed that. I did. But even better would have been if the hacking bits were not as they didn't have to be so ADR'd over. And the camera movements and stuff. It didn't really do much for me, especially during the long moments where she's just like opening and closing pages and it's cutting back and forth between fake Angela and her, because I didn't really know what she was trying to accomplish. Like I knew she was trying to get information, but I didn't really understand what she was doing, so it was just a lot of mumbo jumbo on the screen, and then like snap zooms into the screen and then out of the screen. Which then brings us back to like hackers and stuff, where you're like, oh, maybe those screensavers were what was saving the moments, where you're like, maybe they should have had more interesting angles or like slow pans through the anyway. Yeah, I think they could have filmed it better. They could have filmed that entire sequence better, and any time that she was interacting with the computer, but it was always so claustrophobic, which I get, because when you're in front of a computer, the rest of the world doesn't exist around you.
Yeah.
My rating, however, I give this movie a pizza ordered online 10 years in advance. Or a Fedora tip from a proto incel that seems to creep on women but doesn't hate them for existing.
What the dog doing?
Jeez.
I found a meme soundboard.
What was that?
What the dog doing? Fantastic. I threw that in for Steve because I knew that he knew what it was. I found a whole soundboard of memes. So, for instance,
So it's gonna be like, "Hello, motherfucker."
Well, I want to see if this is the one that I think that it is. Nope. No. Sorry. I just ear deathed everybody.
I thought it was gonna be, "Oh."
No, I thought it was going to be, oh.
You gotta title your sound bits.
No, this is just it's meme soundboard, and then it's just, you gotta just, anyway. So this movie is good, or so I thought. It was. I enjoyed it. We're going to me now. You're done, Steve? Sorry?
Yeah.
You're done, Steve? Sorry?
I'm done sorrying for this movie. Yeah, sorry, guys.
You're done, sorry?
Thank you. Thanks, guys. No, you guys are the real heroes.
It has a lot of elements from thrillers and dramas that make the film feel like pretty real, and even more real than Sneakers felt real, in that it's like Sneakers is a very analog take on hacking, and this felt like this is what hacking looks like when you're actually hacking, compared to especially Ghost in the Shell, which is hyper future, and Hackers, which is another dimension completely. Sandra Bullock is captivating in it. The actor that plays Jack Devlin is also very good at being hateable. We never tracked down who he is. We never talked about it. I didn't look up his name. I thought it would have come up organically, but he does look like somebody. So if you guys have a second to do a little Google phone, the story keeps moving, and there aren't.
Jeremy Northam?
Is he from anything else?
He's in lots of stuff, but nothing that is particularly noteworthy. But Jason, he's in a lot of TV, so you might have noticed him from TV.
That's probably where I'm a TV guy, Raul. I'm a TV guy.
This guy's middle name is TV.
Jason Robert Television Phillips. Jason Robert Television.
Oh, the TV stands for television? I thought
it was something else.
What? I thought it was Tom Vincent.
It stands for Nope, can't say that one. The story keeps moving, and there aren't many moments that drag. It's a very 90s movie without feeling too 90s. Without feeling 90s like Sneakers or Hackers do in their own ways, respectively. Has a decent score. I really enjoyed the moment where it's obvious the guy who bails her out is a bad guy, because he's acting like in real life he's a bad actor. I gave this movie I gave it a 3.5 out of 5, but I'm actually going to do a thing that I sometimes do. It's rare, but I'm going to knock it down to a 3. Just because you guys, you painted a different picture talking about it, and this does sometimes happen talking about movies, than I got watching it, and you pointed out enough things that are dumb in the, filmmaking aspect that it actually, lowered it half a grade.
There are certain things that the 90s stands for in terms of filmmaking.
Well,
some of them are great
80s,
and timeless, but there are certain things that just it makes
80s
it
movies,
have a little date tag on it.
Yeah,
Like, this was made in 1995. And
80s movies drag on and drag on.
Yeah.
Even though they're the same length as this has that snappiness. The opening credits in this one were pretty let's get to the movie, a thing just happens while the credits are popping up, where if it was the 80s, it'd be like, the net, poof, credit, black screen, digital effect, credit, and then it would 5 minutes later would go into the opening scene, right? But this is just I don't even remember the
I would
credits.
be interested to see the trailer of this to see if it's
to see the 1980. Oh,
the trailer is almost
In a
worth
world.
talking about in itself. It's actually insane. There's so many edits in it. I don't know if you've seen Indian soap operas where they do the stretching.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe
They do
we
that
should
shit
do
all
a
over
thing
the-
where we
That
do
one
a
TikTok?
little 5-minute thing on the trailer before we do the movie.
We could. I've thought about it. It's a pretty necessary 90s film that people who like this kind of stuff should watch. It isn't overly jargony and doesn't make the audience feel dumb, while also feeling pretty techie for the time. I give this movie uploading a virus to a computer at a convention that melts your false identity away.
Nice.
Oh.
Sorry?
Oh, sorry. I thought you were going to say, the part where she goes, we've got to meet IRL in
real
life.
Yeah, funny.
I didn't want to say it because I thought that someone else was going to say it, but I guess no one's gonna. So.
What went well is what I just literally what I just said about it, not feeling like being techie without being too hit you over the head with jargon. Even better though, maybe take the stuff that is the movie shit and tone that down a bit. Make it more an indie version of this would have been a much better movie. Almost. Yeah. Make a less Hollywood feeling version of The Net. And I want to go. So we didn't talk about this, but there's a sequel to this movie that came out in 2008 called The Net 2.0 with the same
show.
Are you serious?
With the same plot. It's a woman.
I thought it was going to be the web or the internet.
No, it's called The Net 2.0, and I think it's the same plot. But it came. It's
plot.
Straight to DVD movie.
Right.
Came
so
out.
banking on the title, basically.
Yeah, literally nobody's in it. It's probably
It'd be funny if the
movie.
guy who got thrown, Devlin, he's back and he's in a wheelchair, and he's the
Stephen Hawking.
Yeah.
Has no one returned? No one returns from the original.
I don't know. It's
the smoking doctor from Mexico at the beginning.
He's the only.
He's playing the same character, and he's like.
But
I had a similar situation a few years ago.
I think there is a show from recently that's called The Net that's a similar premise. So there's a Netoverse, whether you like it or not. I don't know how a movie from 2008 about the same thing would work, but I want to track it down and see how bad it is. That's our show for this week. We've gone over by 45 minutes as usual.
I have a special announcement to make, if that's all right.
Okay.
And if it's all right with you, for the next few episodes, we're going to mention it every episode. But
before you mention it, the views and opinions of
Caleb do not reflect the rest of us.
Those of Jason and Steven.
They do not.
I know what it is.
But we are getting close to our 100th episode. And I personally want to gift one of you viewers out there with one of these sweet ass hoodies.
They're nice.
Any
they're
color
soft.
you
They're
like.
very nice. They're high quality too.
Share, repost, whatever. Follow us on Instagram. I'm gonna make an official post on Instagram, and that's the one where you can do all the stuff on it with the likes and the get your ballots in. But I'm gonna mention it every episode until we get to our 100th episode is where I'm going to announce our winner. One of you lucky viewers is going to get a hoodie, your color, your size, and our logo.
And just
Kaylin will personally sweat in each of them.
Yeah.
Yo,
Gonna
Raul,
have
you get
sick
one
ass
because
sweat
Yo,
stains.
actually, that reminds me. Raul, what's your favorite color?
Ooh. Wait, what are the
If you
color?
were to wear a hoodie, what's your favorite color?
What are my color options?
Everything.
Black.
Okay, we can do that.
That's the one that I have.
I'm getting a hoodie.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
So
That's so sweat.
Just to let everybody know, on top of that, we have we're on episode. This is episode 94, and we have a month. Our next month, I'll announce right now, is called. I'm calling it Movies in the New. It's new movies from 2023.
We've never done that.
We've
This
never
is our
done
first
that.
time doing new movies.
Yeah.
Except for Spree.
Spree was newish, and that's the old guard era. Look out for that coming up though, because I'm uploading all the old episodes. We're on episode 7. Yeah.
It's like when Disney re-releases movies out of the vault.
It's exactly like that. It's so much like that you can't even. And it's gonna go back into. It's not gonna go back into the vault. It's gonna live on the fucking YouTube
It's not
forever.
for limited time.
But Raul, thank you for coming on. I'm sorry that
Thank you for having me.
I told you
Yes,
2
you
hours.
were an excellent
but
guest. I enjoyed
Yeah, it was-
talking to you.
You can definitely come back anytime. I'll give you one of these for real. And I guess the only thing left to say is I like how it just cuts off so fast. It's the applause from Tim and Eric, basically.
Oh, really?
When,
yeah.
It isn't, but like when they cut to them,
Yeah.
they clap and then they just stop. That's what it reminds me of. But I will say, for Kaylin, for Steven, Raul, I'm Jason.
For Steven and Jason and Raul, I'm Kellen.
For Jason, for Kaylin, for Raul, I am Steven.
For Caleb, Steven, Jason, I'm Raul.
You did it! And we have to ask the question we ask each other and everyone else on the internet each and every week, and that's, hey, did you see this one?
Did you see this one?
Did you see this one?
Hey.
Hey! Did you see this one? I need to see Cold Stream vodka.
Yeah, that was not a good idea.
Or maybe a great idea. I thought this was a great episode.
I mean, the crowd seems to... Oh, God, Kaylin.
Please don't end on that.
You know what Cold Stream
Raul,
vodka
please,
does?
that's funny. Raul, fuck you.
Fuck.
Oh.